Well, hello everyone. Thank you for your patience. We are starting now. Welcome to the Kratom Gals. This is your weekly dose of real talk, real stories, and very relentless advocacy. Each week we dig into Kratom headlines. There's a lot of them for us to look at because there's so many videos out there we're going to look at, we're going to react to, we're going to have a lot to react to. And we also question the narratives being pushed, especially when they don't line up with the facts. There's a thing called science. So we got a variety of things we're going to be watching today. And, this is not about hyper fear. It's looking at what's being said, who's saying it, and what the evidence really shows. I'm Madeline Sklar, host of the Kratom Gals, the Kratom Stories podcast, and our Kratom Real Talk community over on the school platform. If you've not joined school, just go to school.com/Kratom Real Talk. Or kratomrealtalk.com. Either one will take you right to our page because everybody's getting frustrated with Facebook groups. We can't hardly talk about Kratom in Facebook anymore. We need a place we can go where we can talk about natural Kratom and honest conversations about RT without fear of censorship. So go to kratomrealtalk.com and hang out with us over there. So, also, join our mailing list. Did you know I send out a weekly email? So go over to kratomrealtalk.substack.com or go to kratomstoriespodcast.com. You can do it through there as well. So before we begin, quick note, this live stream is for educational purposes only. It's not medical advice. We don't do that here. We're sharing our own personal experience with Kratom, and we advocate for responsible use of it. All views expressed here are our own. So let's bring up our Kratom Gals. Hello, gals.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited about today.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Why are you excited, Venus? Well, Venus, hold on.
I'm always excited.
Before we go too far, Venus is such the super advocate.
Oh.
Yes.
She needs shout out from the rooftops because
seriously,
Venus, I tell you, you've always been a super advocate. I think your new title is super duper advocate.
Yes.
Everybody says the same thing over and over. Venus, oh my gosh, she's so great. She's so helpful. You stay on top of everything. So I think you are the queen of Kratom advocacy these days.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you are.
I do my best.
She's been like my right-hand woman the last couple of months because we're going back and forth, like, hey, there's a hearing here, 3 in one day. And she's like, okay, you're on here. So I'm calling and hanging up and clicking on it was crazy. It was crazy.
It's hard to keep up with everything. There's too much going on.
And we need all of us to work that way to get all this done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day,
everyone.
Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
And our live chat is exploding right now. So it's great seeing everybody here with us. Man, there's a lot of ban hearings that have been going on around the country. Robin, you're like the OG expert of Kratom advocacy here on the panel. Has there ever been anything like, this is crazy. This is even back in 2016 when y'all worked tirelessly to keep Kratom legal and y'all successfully did that. It was nothing like this, right?
Exactly. And Angela and I and Lois, when we first decided we were going to do this again with an org, we all said, we are not working the hours that we worked with AKA back then. We're getting old, plain and simple. We're not working the hours we worked back then. We're working more. And I don't know what it's going to take to get more people to realize this is deadly serious, folks. We're seeing activity we have never seen before, on a level never seen before. And it's going to take every consumer out there to do something about it.
Absolutely. And for those that don't really know, and not to do this whole chronological history of the AKA, but tell us about how the AKA got started and who was involved back then.
Back then, Susan Ash had an idea. He wanted to bring the truth about Kratom to the people that were consuming it, that were just finding it, that were becoming interested. And she put together an amazing group of people. And she spearheaded it for years. And none of what any of us are or do today would have been the same without her. And she deserves all the credit for that. She saw and identified people that she knew could help, and she went for what she believed in.
That's amazing.
Amazing. Yes, very much so.
We appreciate all the hard work y'all did back then.
Yes, definitely. And it
Okay.
worked.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, we did something in 2016 that has never, ever been done and may never be done again. And we hold that. We stopped the DEA and the FDA in their tracks. Nobody's ever done that before, not with all the millions of dollars in their pockets and all the lobbyists in the world. It was us, the consumers, that did it.
It was very memorable, and so many of us consumers, because that was like I started, really getting into my Kratom use like right around when everything, I'm like, wait a minute, I've only been on this a couple months and you're going to take it away. Oh no, that ain't happening. And that's
Right.
the first time I went to Concord, and it's still nervous as all heck, almost 9 years later, giving testimonies, but everybody was so united, and to see so many people show up and rally together in DC as well. Like I see like the big group photo of everybody in DC. That's one of my favorite photos, one of my absolute favorite photos.
And I will give credit where credit is due. The idea of that rally actually came from a lady that many of us know, Kelly Devine.
Mm-hmm.
And Susan heard the idea and went, we need to do this. We're going to make it happen. And we did. If you ask us how, we probably couldn't tell you, because I don't think any of us slept for 2 months trying to get that together. We used vendor support. We used consumers. We brought it together and put people where they needed to be. And it was spectacular. I can remember shutting down the DEA switchboard because of our massive numbers of calls. We shut it down. We had people quit good jobs, amazing jobs with federal government, because they could not take the backlash anymore. And we need that back, because the threat now is far more serious than it was then.
What do you think has changed? Why is it so serious now? What's going on?
We actually have said all along that we were concerned for the day when communities, states figured out that they could stop what the federal government couldn't. This has always been something that's run in the back of many of our minds. And now we're seeing that. A lot of it is for financial purposes. A lot of it is for new funding options that the states are looking at. And a lot of it is we quit doing what we did in 2015, 2016, 2017. And that is advocating and educating. Everybody kind of went, okay, we won, we can stop now, instead of continuing more and more and more, and
Right.
making sure that these states and these cities knew Kratom is safe. Kratom consumers are everywhere you look, in every walk of life. And we're not overdosing, we're not dying. It can't happen from pure natural botanicals alone.
Right.
Now, the deaths that they keep trying to attribute, almost every single one of them is either polysubstance abuse or research chemical involved. And research chemicals are a nasty thing, because you can't really even test for them, because they don't know what to test for. So it's not going to show up. We lost people in the early days to research chemicals. You would think the community would have learned by now. Stay away from them. But
And tell everybody about your organization, Botanical Advocacy and Education. I have the link right here. Everybody should go join.
After we left AKA, we've stayed involved in advocacy on a local level with ourselves, stayed in touch with the advocates. And we always knew that the grassroots advocacy was lessening for whatever reason. I mean, it's easy to sit back now and point fingers. I'm not going to do that. For whatever reason, it was lessening. We were not engaged. We were not advocating. We were not educating. And so Lois and Angela and I and Elizabeth Gardner said, it's time to come back. Let's see if we can't re-energize this community and the new consumers coming up and get them back to doing what needs done. So we formed BAE, Botanical Advocacy and Education. We officially incorporated here in the state of Montana last year. Hold on. And we are going to continue growing. One of the things that we chose to do is we are not based just on kratom. We want to protect all the natural botanicals because once we finally make them realize they can't keep coming at kratom, they will get a fight every time and we will win every time. We feel like there's going to be a natural turn towards other ones. And there already is to some degree, because if you look at the DOD, they banned kava use for all military personnel.
Yeah.
One of the stupidest decisions I think the DOD has ever made.
Yeah.
But it's there. We've seen small communities, smaller areas go after shilajit, after ashwagandha, aquama. All of these have taken hits at different times. And it's time to step back and say, enough is enough, folks. First,
Yeah.
prohibition does not work.
Yeah.
Did the 20s teach you nothing?
Right.
Second, we as adults have the right to determine what we are going to use for our own benefit and health. And we choose plant medicine. It's been around for thousands of years and it'll be here for thousands of years more. Leave us alone.
That's
Yeah.
what they used before pharmaceuticals were even invented. So I mean,
Right.
you know, like
Right.
why?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why? Money.
Because the big dollars cannot control a plant. You can go out and grow it in your own backyard 95% of the time.
Mhm.
There's no money in it for them.
No. Agreed.
And doctors can't make money off healthy patients.
That's right.
That's right.
No, they
100%.
can't.
100%.
exactly
That's
it
such a
right
great
there.
point.
That's what
Mhm.
keeps them coming back over and over and over. And then each time being referred to one specialty, then another specialty and another specialty. And while all this is going on, they're cha-chinging and we're not. You know, they get the money and we become poorer. We can't even take care of ourselves.
Right. Exactly. It's big business.
Mhm.
Cameron, who's known as Liberated Outcast, says, I'm about to book a trip to Asia to visit kratom farms. How exciting.
nice.
Awesome.
That is so cool. Yes, Kelly, they keep us sick on purpose. You know, losing access to my FDA approved pharmaceuticals in pain management at the time didn't feel like a very good thing to lose access to. But in the big picture, it was the best thing that could have happened because I'm not on all these pharmaceuticals
That's right.
anymore. And
Same.
paying all that money and going to all those doctor's visits, I'm able to self-manage my care for debilitating chronic pain. And it is so liberating. I'm coming up on my 7-year anniversary. I've taken kratom every single day, natural kratom. I've never had any negative side effects, issues, only positive, way more positive than taking pharmaceuticals. And I get labs at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. Never had a problem. I can't say that about the pharmaceuticals. I always had issues. And that's why I don't understand the people that are so anti-kratom. Is like, wow, these people would rather us be sick too, just like the government and the pharmaceutical industry. They just want us
Because
all
even
sick.
if there was a side effect or a mild side effect to the tea, look at how many side effects you do get with the pharmaceuticals. They'll put the ads on the TV, and what's rolling down with it, 20, 30, 40. Some of these have adverse effects that are just, I mean, it
But
just
wait, there's
blows me
another
away.
pill
Who
for
would
it.
ever put
Right,
Right.
right. That's it. That's exactly it. Or
Hold on,
2
we'll
or
get about
3.
20 pills for
You're
one
right.
issue.
That's right. Exactly.
That's how I ended up on so much gabapentin, which now all we hear about is how bad that is for
Yeah.
your health.
Yep.
And
Yes.
I just remember my pain just kept getting worse and worse. And doctor already had me on a lot of opiates. And he's like, let's try some gabapentin. I think this Neurontin could really help because it's for nerve pain. And I think some of your pain's nerve pain too. And I'm like, okay. And it wasn't doing much. Well, then he just kept upping the dose.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was taking a lot. I was shocked looking back that I was at 2,700 milligrams a day. And then one time I saw the PA and I could not stand the guy, the PA. The doctor was way better. But I remember saying I specifically remember telling the PA, like, I don't think this gabapentin's doing anything. And I was taking a lot. And the PA says, well, why don't you just stop taking it and see what happens? I'm like, okay, but what if it is helping and I just don't know it's helping? And, well, stopping is the only way you'll know. Stop for
Yeah.
10 days. And I'm thinking, people that don't have pain or not the level we all do, don't get it. It's very easy to say, oh, why don't you stop taking this pharmaceutical for 10 days and see how you feel? I can't go more than 6 hours without my kratom. Prior to that, I couldn't go more than 2 to 3 hours without an opiate.
As you said, you can't just quit taking
Same.
gabapentin.
No.
Nope.
And I'm not talking about, because I'm sure the anti-kratom people are like, yeah, because she's going withdrawals and she's good because she's an addict. No, I've never been that. When I was taking opiates as often as I was, it was because I had really kept building tolerance. It was an issue where I'd have to keep changing. It was a merry-go-round of different opiates because I would just reach the limit of one working and I'd have to go to a whole different one. And it was crazy. I've never had that with kratom. My natural kratom, I've been taking the same dose for 6 years. The same dose every day, multiple
I've been
times.
Mine's
taking
not
the same
changed
dose
either.
for 13 years, 14 years. Yeah.
And
Whatever
I
it's
mean,
been.
I even utilize the extracts, and when I use them, very sparingly. I don't use them every single day, so I can go back to the plain leaf right after, and adding extract to it, or just taking an extract, depending on how my Crohn's is going, if I can take the powder or not. And I'll be on my 9 years, May 5th, which is Cinco de Mayo, perfect day to remember. I was like, oh, that'll be one I won't, this brain won't forget. And, it's 9 years. And it's like, I'm just kind of, I'm baffled because I've seen my labs, my blood, like my blood work is like flawless now. My organs, then it's like, well, my kidneys and my liver were going through it, like now everything's good. Even my pancreas is good now. It's like, okay,
That's
like I had
great.
all kinds of other things going on. And it's like, well, look at, off all these 30 years of pharmaceuticals, and look at, it's like my body is starting to fix or rejuvenate some of the damage, that was done. And it's been nice. It's been nice.
Yeah. Well, I've got lots for us to watch today. Lots and lots. So, we're going to be watching 3 different ban hearings. I'm going to play some news stories first, but we will be watching some of the New Hampshire that was all this. I think all these were earlier this week. Amanda, you spoke. I can't wait to play what you did.
Yeah. New Hampshire was Tuesday.
So we had New Hampshire, City of Los Alamitos, which there was just this amazing advocate, this guy, Ed, who's retired, that is so great. And I was so grateful that he shared the video too. And I was able to.
Well, and then to find out that the mayor pro tem.
I'm going to play his too. We don't have time to play all of this stuff, but I've got bits and pieces. And then South Dakota, that was some craziness. I'm going to play some clips from that later. We got lots lots to discuss. So I do want to point out, Extreme is here and did a comment a little while ago I wanted to come back to. It says, if we can't get it out of gas stations, we're doomed. Mac and others need to understand society will never accept. We don't need to be like pointing out specific people, but I think the biggest problem we've always had is gas stations. First, the extracts. Extracts have been all we used to do here on the Kratom Gals was talk about the problem with extracts. That's all the media
Exactly.
focused on because they were in gas stations and so easily accessible. It was such a problem. And we don't ever hear about that now, but it's like, oh, having those products on the shelves and gas station give it permission to let's do that with the 7-OH as well and keep products that really should not be so accessible
Doesn't
in
need
an
to be in a
environment like
gas
that.
station.
Exactly.
And part
Not
of
at
that
all.
challenge is for so many years, people said, I can't wait until we see the day where this is sold in convenience stores and GNC and Walmart. Okay, you got your wish,
Nah.
folks. How's that working for you?
Well,
Yeah.
it's a money thing. It's they're clear and simple. They make more money with it being that accessible.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's the biggest problem of all. It's always been the problem. There was a lot of ranting and raving on this show, not always me, but there used to be a lot of ranting and raving about extracts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that was the problem back then, that's all we heard about. Not from the responsible consumers, the ones that very much like we hear with 7-OH. Oh, I didn't know what it was. Oh, I didn't read the label. I didn't realize I shouldn't be drinking this whole bottle. Oh, 7-OH. I didn't realize I shouldn't take all 3 tabs in it. It's like there's a reason why they're scored. Read the instruction.
Right.
Yeah.
They all
Yeah.
need to be sold where you have to show your ID to get in or to buy something to make sure that they are of age. The convenience stores, they don't apparently keep up on it as much.
No,
But
I used to buy cigarettes at like 13 years old. Are you kidding me? Convenience
Yeah,
stores
me
like
too.
that, they don't. But like smoke shops, like, we have like Smokers Haven and stuff where it's, like vape products and, other accessories for smoking. And there's a lot of, Kratom and there's 7-O, behind the cabinets. And they do make like the ones that I've gone to out here just to kind of see what's around here. They do make their employees kind of learn what products they do have. They don't have a whole
I
lot,
like that.
but at least they're making them, the white is for
Knowledgeable.
flight, red's for bed, kind of like,
That's good.
they do the basics.
Yeah.
And anytime I've gone in,
Important.
I've always like given little pamphlets or something and kind of just given them a little bit more information.
Mhm.
That's great. I'm going to start off first with a news story out of Kansas City, Missouri, because we keep hearing a lot about Missouri lately in the news because they've really been going after 7-O hard. And I know there's been a lot of back and forth, like including natural kratom or not including it. And so it sounds like a decision was made this week on adopting a ban on 7-OH and regulating natural kratom. So let's watch this one.
A lab-made product that local elected officials have called gas station heroin, now officially illegal in KCMO. Kansas City Council adopted a ban on 7-OH and imposed stricter restrictions on its natural plant kratom. This comes after our I-Team investigation. Strong High Weak Laws has been digging into the impacts of 7-OH. Medical experts have found it 14 times stronger than morphine and highly addictive.
The fact that it had me so fast, that blew my mind.
7-OH is naturally found in the plant kratom, but lawmakers and doctors are concerned about the product made in a lab. KSHB 41 News reporter Isabella Ladon live in the studio. So I understand this ban doesn't take effect right away. Walk us through the details. When?
Right. Well, Kevin, stores have 60 days to get these products off the shelves. These are stores that sell 7-OH. They have about 2 months to get them off the shelves. Businesses also have 2 months to get a kratom retail license from the city if they want to keep selling the natural plant. If they don't, they could be facing fines from the city and possibly the state. Kansas City is the largest municipality on both sides of the state line to make gas station drugs illegal.
We don't need 7-OH on the streets of Kansas City. We don't need synthetic drugs.
Those recovering from a 7-OH addiction are optimistic with the new rules.
And this stuff grabs you so fast, which is why it's so scary. like it's being sold over the counter.
Whitmore reached out to me while he was in rehab treatment for 7-OH and explained the toll it's had on his life.
I needed to tell somebody the perspective of the person that's taking it and spending their money on it and going to rehab for it and losing a job over it.
Under KCMO's new ban, any products that have a 7-OH concentration higher than natural kratom will be illegal. Individual users won't be punished, but businesses selling 7-OH could face a $1,000 fine or lose their license.
Banning synthetic drugs is going to make us vastly healthier. It's going to make our cities safer.
After KCMO proposed its ban, lawmakers in Missouri and Kansas filed bills that would ban synthetic 7-OH statewide.
This is something that is new, and a lot of people are looking to what are other municipalities or other institutions doing on this, and I'm glad Kansas City is leading on this.
Stores can still sell kratom, but only if they have a license from the city of Kansas City, Missouri, and the buyer is over 21.
I think that there's still a way for people who need it to be able to get it on the leaf side, but the synthetic, highly concentration, dangerous portion of the drug, I'm glad to see that's off the shelves here in Kansas City.
According to records I obtained from Johnson County, Kansas, 7-OH, or the active ingredient in 7-OH, mitragynine, was involved in 8 deaths in the last 2 years. I requested reports where kratom, 7-OH, or mitragynine were listed as a contributing factor or cause of death going back to 2023. Out of the 22 records Joco sent me, 8 of them listed 7-OH or mitragynine toxicity in the death report. And there's been at least 1 polysubstance death involving mitragynine in KCMO. The Kansas City creator of 7-OH told me he stands by his product's safety and denies any deaths or overdose linked to 7-OH. He told me in a statement, today's ruling is disheartening as it will make a product essential to many individuals more difficult to obtain. You can scan the QR code that you see on your screen right now to find our in-depth coverage about the regulation of 7-OH over on our website, or you can visit kshb.com. In the studio, Isabella LaDon.
All right. What are y'all's thoughts on that story and happening in Kansas City?
I think it's a decent act as far as it goes. I mean, it could be a lot worse. But again, education is lacking. There's so much more that should have been taught to those legislators about the safety and the efficacy. And people just aren't getting out there talking.
Well, and they said synthetic a gazillion times in that story. And later we're going to see an expert testify as semi-synthetic, not synthetic.
And I would like to know how much a person is taking at one time to consider themselves hooked on the spot. I mean, I really want to know. So was it the whole 3-pack? Was it a 100 milligram tablet? Was it, I would just like to know, because.
And I would have liked to have seen the other side of it as well. Had them talk to people that have actually benefited from any of the product.
I agree.
Yeah, we need to get back to fairness in journalism. And I don't know that that day will ever come.
Yeah.
But that's why programs like yours are so vitally important, Madeline.
And fairly reporting both sides.
Absolutely. They got to stop calling it gas station heroin, but that's what they used to call extracts.
That's what they call
it.
I mean, I could go back through our Kratom Gals archives, and I can't tell you how many times the news stories are identical. Instead of 7-OH, it was extracts. They called it gas station heroin.
Yeah.
Initially, it was tianeptine that was called that, but then they started calling Kratom extracts that as well.
Yeah, they called plain leaf that in 2016.
That's right.
They were calling it gas station heroin. So it's like the language that they're using is verbatim. So, I mean, I really think extracts
are tactics.
They still would have been coming after kratom if there was still no extracts. Like if we had no extracts at all, I 100% believe they would still be coming.
I do too. I believe that.
I agree 100%.
I totally agree.
It's sad, This is why we can't have nice things.
Well, there needs to be more education. The media, they're just going for clicks and views, and what's going to grab the most attention. They all jumped on this whole gas station heroin. They never stop.
Well,
Every
it's like they
story.
paint it to their narrative, and a lot of people these days, they just, oh, well, this is what so and so said. It's kind of like, with the community. Oh, so and so said this was a good vendor, or they're good, and come to find out, they don't test at all, and they're packing in a shed. And it's like, I mean, it's like, yeah, take word of mouth, yes, but take that with a grain of salt, and then do your own, info search on it, because you're going to find out for yourself. You'll know the most if you do it yourself.
Exactly.
And that even goes back to education of ourselves as well as people on the outside looking in, and accepting responsibility for your own actions. Come on, an alcoholic knows that alcohol is dangerous. They continue to use it.
Yep.
That's on them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not on the alcohol, because if it was, that would be gone.
Right.
Right.
Correct.
Absolutely.
No, I
And
mean,
when
that's
they
out
tried
there
it, it
killing
didn't
more
work.
people than anybody.
Right.
I mean, anything. I mean, the alcohol, gosh, when I was standing at the Concord, New Hampshire hearing, the alcohol-related deaths here in New Hampshire averaged between 140 to 178,000 per year. Alcohol-related deaths. And I'm like, for the year, I'm like, that's insane.
It is insane. And
whether it be like an accident or, some sort of, they've, drank too much alcohol and their body's done, it's like, wow, that's a lot. But yet here, we have it right off, the liquor stores right off of our highway. You just pull off the little, rest stop type looking area, grab your bottle of booze, and then hit right back on the highway. Nothing says, hey, live for your time, like drink it and drive it on the highway.
And some people are dying from sugar too, with severe diabetes, because they can't, it's still the addiction mindset, because they can't get off the sugar or minimize their carb intake or their glycemic index. And I mean, but that's not everybody else's fault that can have a sugar treat.
Right. We're going to take away Oreos because the world can't control themselves,
That's
I know. I can't
Let's
control
give them
myself.
Tylenol.
Yeah, right. That didn't get talked about enough either. But no, I try very hard not to buy Oreos because they're gone so fast. And I know they're bad for me, but
it's every once in a while, we always need a cheat
plus,
day.
plus when you're like, I'm a vegetarian, but like, I still remember when I was trying to do the vegan thing, it's like people at vegans are like, Oreos are vegan. It's like, ooh, you can't get excited. Like, it's like, doesn't mean it's healthy. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there that's bad for us. But we're all adults,
Mm-hmm.
And
my grandbabies, they have Oreos here. I have to be so strong because I like them too, but I have to manage my intake, or I'm messing my own life up. I don't have enough leg time up against the calories. I have to keep my stuff low in order to lose it, or I don't burn nothing because I'm not, so I see it and I have to be stronger than that. Not just stronger than pain, stronger than that, stronger than Oreos, stronger than all of it.
It's tough because I mean, like both my parents, like I didn't know my mom was diabetic until she passed away. I found out all the stuff in her report. My dad was diabetic. That's why he passed away. His kidneys failed him. Myself, I'm hypoglycemic. My aunt is also hypoglycemic. So it's like, that's low blood sugar and you have to just eat. And it's like, that sucks because half the time I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat. But that, it's like, I could completely go the other way though, too. So it's like, here I am 100 pounds lighter, not stuck in a bed, but yet, the pharmaceuticals were working so well for me,
right.
and I'm just like, okay.
This next story I'm going to play is 5 minutes long. It's not short, but, and then we're going to move on to the different hearings this week. But this one really caught my attention, and you'll see why pretty quick. It's out of Florida, and the premise of it is you'll see.
Unknown. Even for me, before August, I couldn't have told you what Kratom was.
Dangerous.
Just because it comes in a plant and it's natural doesn't necessarily mean it's safe.
And hiding in plain sight.
They think that it's okay because it's at the store and it's legal and it's an herb, so it's not that bad.
If you've never heard of Kratom, you're not alone.
I was going to say, the media sure loves to demonize this plant. Let's do this music. Let's like just make this sound so bad. Let me tell you why this caught my attention. The title of this on YouTube. Okay, this is the title of this news story. Lee Health, I don't know, I guess that's just some group or whatever, links newborn withdrawals to Kratom. That's the headline
Wow.
for this video. So
Elaborate, dum, like trying to
right.
make it this. Yeah.
But just even that opener and the music and the
Yep.
way they're framing this,
Yeah.
I just wanted y'all to know what this title was.
But it's being found in everyday items that might be in your pantry right now.
It is highly addictive and it's setting off alarm bells locally in maternity wards. Gulf Coast News reporter Evan Dean discovered how this unregulated drug is making it onto store shelves.
It was described to me as an herbal supplement, like something you could get at GNC or something simple. I thought this was kind of a get out of jail free card.
Blake Goucher struggled with drug addiction for years. The last time he slipped, it was Kratom, of all things, that led to his relapse.
I got to the point where I couldn't go 45 minutes without taking a dose or I would be dope sick. I really reached a point where I decided Kratom wasn't enough anymore. And then I went back to heroin.
They simply can't stop. The obsession is too great. The detoxes are terrible.
Jessica Slater works with people in the recovery program at St. Matthew's House. She's seen Kratom lead people back to harder drugs, which then led to overdoses and even deaths.
They're no longer here because of it starting with a Kratom addiction. We are losing people. That when it comes to addiction, it's life or death.
It has been proven to be highly addictive. Last year, Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer banned the sale of what's known as 7-OH. It's a compound found naturally in the Kratom plant, but has been synthesized and concentrated to make it more potent.
Up to 13 times more potent than morphine.
We wanted to find out if it's still being sold here. So we went to nearly a dozen shops in Fort Myers. We didn't find 7-OH, but we did find Kratom, a lot of it. Products that are still legal in Florida, so long as you're 21 years old.
If Kratom is used responsibly, just like a lot of other things, there's very little, if any, side effect or negative side effect to it.
Rob Fontano owns the Kapua Kava bar off Metro Parkway, which has sold Kratom for years now. Everything from chocolates and extracts.
This is our famous Riptide.
To also freshly made drinks.
It helps with back pain. It sometimes helps with sleep. I've known countless people that have used it to get off of opiates.
People have very positive, some even life-changing benefits from using this.
Nikki Brown has used Kratom here for 3 years. She says it helps with anxiety and has become a better alternative to alcohol.
I can have a tea and still interact normally as myself. There's not this ultra ego that takes over.
I don't want anything to do with anything that's been manipulated by man, by science.
Fontano says he refused to sell 7-OH when it was legal and says everything he does sell is lab tested.
It's not being, shoveled into bags in somebody's garage.
These chemicals have effects that we don't know yet, and we need to study more.
Lee Health doctor Dave Andraco says more research is needed with Kratom. That's why the FDA warns people against using it, no matter the type.
It has no regulation from the FDA or from our federal agencies. So when you go to the gas station and you purchase it, you really don't know what you're getting.
Now, doctors at Lee Health have an entirely new concern with Kratom.
Even the nurses who are so acutely in tune with our babies, what's going on?
Lauren Habel is the OB nursing director at Health Park Medical Center. In recent months, they've seen a handful of unique cases, newborns showing withdrawal symptoms that they couldn't explain before ultimately tying it to Kratom.
High-pitched cry, excessive sneezing, inconsolable crying. They don't want to eat. Those can be dangerous left untreated. It can lead to seizures.
The hospital system is now working to warn people, especially pregnant women.
Moms have been hurt. Like, it's been heartbreaking. I mean, some have just cried because they really did not connect this herbal supplement to the fact that it could harm their baby.
My life was miserable because of it.
Blake Goucher hopes his story can also be a warning. Thanks to St. Matthew's House, he's come out the other side. He's been sober for years now, has gotten married, bought a house, and most of all, he's found his way away from addiction.
I have people today who they rely on me to be there and to be responsible for them. And I couldn't imagine letting them down.
There's brand new legislation that would make 7-OH a Schedule 1 drug and other legislation that would tighten regulations on kratom as a whole in Florida. The bills still have a long way to go, but we will be watching them. In the studio, I'm Investigator Evan Dean.
Okay. So, what are y'all's thoughts on that one?
First off, let's go with
45
self-responsibility.
minutes. Sorry, go. Yes. Go.
First off, let's go with self-responsibility. Yeah, quit blaming a substance for your issues. You didn't have to go buy kratom. You chose to. If you chose to then quit taking kratom to take some other substance because you wanted to get high, it's because kratom wasn't getting you high.
Right.
And that couldn't have been kratom in 45 minutes, and I don't even believe it was 7-0. Because I just don't believe it unless it was in massive amounts, which is already abuse. And so he wouldn't have been able to stop himself anyway. But that's not kratom tea at all.
No.
No.
And oftentimes when people are in active addiction, and anybody who's ever been there knows it, you're going to make any excuse and you'll throw anything else under the table. You'll lead your family to believe you were taking this natural supplement called kratom, and oh my God, this did this to me. But they're really taking the other things, the fentanyl or the heroin or meth or everything else in the background. And that's why deaths that do come up are poly. They weren't only taking kratom.
Right. Or their research chemicals, which you never tested.
Research, right?
Right.
Good. Yes, good point. That's a very good
I
point.
want to know how this whole pregnant women, like all these women, like first of all, show the receipts. Did y'all do blood work on these women to see mitragynine was in there?
Exactly.
They
I
took
mean,
any antidepressants. There's because I'm
oh yeah,
in
benzos for
other
sure.
groups, and I see a lot of the time that hey, like I vape. A lot of them vape now. And they're not, and the same withdrawals from nicotine. It's like, oh, well, we don't know what it is. If they know about kratom, they automatically just say, oh, your baby's going through withdrawals. And then, hey, let's give them some meds because they're going to go through a seizure. And I'm just like,
yeah,
they're putting them on some hefty duty meds.
Yeah.
And yet keeping women on pain treatment and methadone and Suboxone when they're pregnant is totally okay.
Yep,
Exactly.
and SSRIs. and all
Right.
that.
That's
Yep.
okay. Right. That's okay. But
As long as it's prescribed to you, you're fine to have it in your system, but it's like, God, I remember, like even when I was pregnant with my son, because I've dealt with pain literally my whole life, and being pregnant and being in pain, it was, again, pretty much stuck in bed. Like it was a nightmare. And being in pain, when I'm in pain, I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat. I'm nauseous. So I was like, I had to ask my doctor, hey, like how long am I allowed to smoke this before I have to stop? And he was like, okay, well, you've got to stop by 6 months because, back then, I mean, that was 26 years ago, but it's like, you can't have something natural in your system, but you can have all of these pharmaceuticals and it's A-okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Right.
please, I don't want anyone to get me wrong. I'm not saying people shouldn't be on MAPS or whatever they're considering using, but
Right.
quit blaming kratom
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you don't blame anything else.
We're all in agreement with that. For sure. That was an interesting story. But now we got to go shift over to the hearings because there's so many of them. So many.
There was one other thing. Did anyone else catch that it could be in your pantry?
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, Liberate
I mean, they're
Outcast.
mixing it in our food and all that.
Yeah,
That's just not
Cameron
even,
posted that. She said, might be in your food cabinet. That was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, when I
Okay.
first started, I had a space in my cabinet, and I mean, I first started, I used like this little Tupperware that I would have like my small little bags, you know, my little ounce baggies, and I would just tuck them away because it was right there, you know, just take it out of. No, now I've got a whole cabinet.
Yeah, I have a cabinet too.
Yeah,
I have a whole
two.
I have like 1.5 cabinets.
Yeah, I've got a
Okay.
cabinet for all my Kratom products, and then I've got like my tinctures and all my vitamins in another cabinet.
Like, yes, ma'am, it is in fact in my cabinet because I put it there. But the way that it was kind of
Exactly.
came out was
Yeah.
that they were putting it in our food,
Food.
and we were
Yeah.
unknowingly
We're trying to spike it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know anybody with that kind of money.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No, and Kratom, you would taste it. You know, nobody would want to eat anything that was spiked with that if that was really happening.
Well, first of all, let's talk about how many harmful things are in our food that we all consume. And like they're just now going to finally get the red dye out of all of our food. What about all the
Right.
salt and sugar that's added to almost everything we eat?
I
So
just
actually,
shared
if
a
it
reel
wasn't, our
about
food would be
candy.
fine.
Did you guys see the one that I sent? I had sent it to a couple of chats, a couple of group chats I was in. There was this reel about all the different kinds of candy that's out there, like Reese's, Snickers, all this stuff. Cancer causing agents that are in them. It's all this that's right
Arsenic.
at your register. So the little hands can grab them and grab them right as you go.
Arsenic.
Take away, yeah, arsenic. Cheerios have it.
Was snuck into our food, we'd all be fine. We'd all be fine if the tea was fine, then we'd all be fine. Unlike all these other substances that they're putting into the candy and the chips and all the junk food, and even our real food that's supposed to be our clean food, it's not clean food either.
That's
No.
right.
Mm-mm.
Absolutely.
When a
correct.
rancher can no longer afford to butcher and consume their own cow, it's cheaper to go buy it at a grocery store. That tells you what's going on with our food
That's
chain.
right.
Yes, it
That's
does.
right.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
And I come from ranch stock, so
Yeah. I want to play Amanda's awesome testimony in New Hampshire this week.
That was exhausting. I was done. I was so done after that. Like I was wiped.
How much notice did you get that hearing was going to be happening?
I got the email at 12:38 a.m. the day of the hearing.
Wow.
Yeah, that was really nice of them.
Wow. Well, this is the New
Yeah.
Hampshire Senate Judiciary Committee meeting, because this was like just a committee meeting, right? Committee
Yeah.
hearing.
I'm guessing it's kind of like it was originally, from what my knowledge is, because it's 18 plus right now, they were going to just be talking about regulation and moving it to 21 plus. And then we've got our other friends in there that had other things to say.
Yeah.
They were against it. They don't want it there. They want it all banned.
There sure is a lot of that right now where they just want to ban it all. They just don't want to differentiate or try to regulate everything.
Well, that's the thing, is they keep saying the word ban, and what happens? You ban something, there goes the studies. Like people really need to watch the language that they use, especially when you're in places like these, talking to the Senate, because the language is so important on how you say things. And I mean, I don't understand half these things when they sit there and talk their legal mumbo jumbo. I'm sitting there like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand it, but I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I know what I'm saying, and I'm at least going to make sure that I'm saying everything correctly to at least my knowledge and my best of my ability.
And part of what the challenge is when they have a bill like the KCPA, especially the early ones, if there is not funding for regulation built into the bill, then it's a challenge to try and figure out how to enforce and pay for the enforcement of those regulations. And then when you want to start taking out 7-OH or an extract, how do we differentiate and who's going to pay for it? So it becomes simpler and more cost effective for these communities, for these states, to say we're just going to ban it all and worry about it later. So a lot of it is dollar signs. If we're not accounting for how all this is going to occur, then it doesn't do any good to have it because they're just going to get tired of not doing their job and enforcing the regulations. So they'll just say, okay, ban the whole thing. Utah is a perfect example of that with McKell. You know, he voted for the original KCPA, and now he's saying, well, it's too hard to enforce, so we just want to ban everything.
Yeah.
No, you should have thought about that when you were voting on that bill.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to play Amanda's awesome testimony from this week in New Hampshire. So let's watch this together.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Amanda. I live here in Bedford, New Hampshire. I was put on pain medicine at the age of 9 years old. I live with 10 out of 20 of the most painful conditions to live with, trigeminal neuralgia being one that's also known as the suicide disease. I have been on pain medicine, like I said, since the age of 9. They've put me on a slew of different medications, trying to find one that works, ones that don't work, between anxiety, depression, pain medication, blood pressure medication. And it's just been a nightmare. I've been in the hands of the pain clinic the whole time. I was disabled, stuck in bed, not able to get out of bed. My mom died in the hands of the pain clinic. She took less medication than what she was prescribed. I found Kratom about a decade ago. I've been taking it for almost 9 years this May. I have also taken extracts. I have taken many breaks. I have absolutely no withdrawals from either one. I just deal with my normal pain symptoms and maybe like a little sniffly nose. In the almost 9 years that I've been using Kratom, I've come off of blood pressure medication, anxiety and depression medication, as well as pain medication. That's over 50,000 pharmaceuticals that I have not had to consume in almost 9 years. In that time, my liver was failing. I had a slew of health conditions. I was 100 pounds heavier. I was bedridden. I was not able to do 3 of my professions, which is hairdresser, dental assistant, and a teacher. I couldn't do any of them. Now I am able to get out of bed. I am able to come here and talk to you guys. I am completely all in my faculties. I have no impairment. It does not mess me up. Most thing, if you take too much, whether it be Kratom and or an extract, it has a ceiling effect. You're going to get what we call like the wobbles, almost like when people drink too much alcohol, they see the blurry vision, you're going to puke. That's it. There's been, talks of deaths with Kratom, but there's been a lot of other things in their system. There was also a man who was shot and killed by a gunshot, and that was labeled as a death of Kratom. So I'm asking you to please follow the science. Please regulate it. That is key. I don't believe that it should be in a gas station. They have no business selling it there. You can find it in smoke shops, which you have to be 21 plus in order to go in there to buy anything anyways. So I believe regulation is key. Taking this away, I would not be alive today without it. I was heading down death's row. I've got my blood work every year. I've had organ scans. I've been under the care of a doctor this entire time. And I am now reversing the damage that 30 years of pharmaceuticals did for me. My body is pharmaceutical resistant. If I don't have a plain natural plant that I can go have access to, like turmeric, it helps. It's a dietary supplement, but it also helps with inflammation. This helps me. I don't have to be depressed. I don't have to be stuck in bed. I was able to go see my son graduate not only high school, but as well as college. And without that, I would not have been able to do that without Kratom. So I'm asking you to regulate it. 21 plus is key. Get rid of the stupid names, and make sure, if anybody I think is going to be selling it in a smoke shop, they need to have proper education. But this plant is life-saving. There's billions of people using it, and people aren't dying strictly from either the extract and the plain leaf. I appreciate your time. Do you have any
Will you take a
questions?
question? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, son. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for taking my question. So I presume you're not opposed to any type of ban on the Kratom
No.
in its natural form.
Yeah, I don't want to ban on any of it.
No, even with the synthetic.
Even the synthetics, because a ban on that stops all studies. It's been scientifically proven that it does help. They are studying it right now to turn it into a pharmaceutical. You put a ban on something, that stops all studies on it. I think it should be regulated. There's also, I think it was like a 1% is what you guys had it for like the found naturally in the Kratom leaf. I think the Kratom Consumer Protection Act had moved it to a 2%, and that would have a small percentage of extracts as well that falls under that, but it's a very, very low percentage.
Well, and thank you for taking my follow-up question. So, but is there any, my colleague has something that she, who knows where, I'm not gonna ask where you got it from, but,
I got it at the convenience store across from McDonald's.
oh, all right.
On the street.
Yeah, those are all extracts. Yeah.
So, but is there any, I guess this is a 14 milligram tablet. It says 2 servings, even though it's 1 tablet. All that aside, I'm just
Right.
asking, is there any milligram amount per dose that you would put a limitation on? I mean,
On the extract, I mean, I've seen tablets that you can split in 4s. I mean, I don't know all of their dosing. It will say, you know, this you can only have, you know, take a fourth a tablet, and that is however many milligrams it is per thing. And that's on the person to break it and take that fourth. That's what it's labeled as. That's on them. It's just like giving someone a prescription bottle saying, take, you know, 1 pill 3 times a day and trusting them to do the same thing with their prescription medication. So it's about accountability, I think, when it comes to following what dosing is on whatever package is on. I know that they've all like varied in different milligrams. I can't speak on all of them. I can only speak on what I've used myself.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for your testimony.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Great job. Oh my gosh,
That
it
was
was so
amazing.
good.
Perfect. So
Thank
good.
you. Thank you.
Beautiful job, Amanda.
Excellent
Thank
job.
you.
And they
I'll
were so
tell you,
attentive.
it's daunting. It's I get so nervous every time I go up. Absolutely freaking out. I don't know. I was so nervous going to Concord. I don't know why, because the last time I was in Concord, I'd only been taking, you know, Kratom for a couple of months, and they were doing the ban hearing. And at that point, they were like, they didn't even like technically have to hear our stories, but they let so many of us talk. I think there was like 50 something people that talked, and every single one of us got to talk, but they had already said, we're just going to regulate it and keep it, you know, put it to 18 plus. They had made up their mind beforehand. So I'm hoping it kind of goes, you know, the same way, because there was a lot of, you know, people, you know, coming in saying, you know, oh, you know, it's basically they're lumping it in, labeling it Kratom, knowing that it's Kratom, but then they're calling 7-0 Kratom. Doctors, you know, whatever, you know, people that are against it, they're just, you know, they're the ones that are starting this. Oh, hey, that's Kratom. No, that's the 7-0. That's the extract. This is Kratom. Kratom is the plain leaf, you know, like I think that's where a lot of the confusion is starting to come from between the news and, you know, people calling it that.
Right. And then when you have the news stories and they say Kratom and they show the picture of something completely different, or they say something completely different and show Kratom, that makes it all the confusing even more.
Right. Let's get back to the natural botanical.
Yeah. When the gentleman was asking me the question about like splitting the pill, there was a lady who was on, you know, on the panel, and she stopped off at a couple of stores on her way in, and she had gotten like a feel-free shot, and then like one of those cones, and then some other thing, like some sort of tablet or whatever, you know. But she goes, I couldn't find Kratom anywhere. And I'm like, okay, well, you're walking into gas stations, which that, again, this is the reason why it should be gone. But, you know, you could go into a smoke shop and you'll find Kratom. So everybody just, they're all labeling it right now as one thing. And that's where we're finding myself, where I advocate a lot and I go to an insane amount of hearings. I'm finding everybody is just lumping in it as one.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's important for these.
But then again, alcohol is alcohol, and you've got all the varieties under alcohol. So it's like, I mean, you know, I don't know.
This is why education is so important.
Gets resolved eventually. You know, there's some kind of resolve in it. I mean, I don't know. Let me think.
Are you not able to hear me, Tinkle?
It's exhausting.
Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I had a brain fart. I mean, I'm thinking of other products that are like, I know that the tea needs to be differentiated from the other items, and we do need that. But then there's a lot of other items out there. For example, you know, we have candy, and then we have all these different candies, and then we have alcohol, but then we have vodka, and we have whiskey, and we have beer. And then, you know, to me, like maybe Kratom would be a beer and 7-0 would be a whiskey, or maybe Kratom is a coffee and 7-0 is an espresso,
Right.
or or one is a Tylenol and one is a codeine.
Right.
You've got the item and then you've got something that's a little heavier.
It's like
or a little
caffeinated
heavier.
and decaffeinated.
That's
Like
it. That,
we need to just
something like that.
just put a different,
And so how would that all work? Would we want to say just regulate it all and make sure it's all safe, or do we want to still keep tugging it in pieces and parts and see? And I'm just not sure. So that's why I started to mention something like that. But I'm just not sure. I know that tea itself we shouldn't call it, for people who only want, I have a cough drop in my mouth, sorry. For people who only want to take tea, they should have education and be aware that the extracts and the 7-0 and all these other things coming out on the market isn't plain leaf kratom. That I'm firm about.
Right. There needs to be a distinction.
Yeah, natural kratom, which is just a leaf. You got
And then you got
extracts.
the others.
Yeah, extracts. That's semi-synthetic.
And
then you got
technically 7-0
7-OH
is an
semi-synthetic.
extract that it just becomes a metabolite. But it was extracted in the first place to be able to get it to any other item at all. So,
Right.
or product, or, so,
Well, we're gonna watch an expert talk about this in New Hampshire, Dr. Cornell.
Nice.
Is it how do you pronounce his last name? Stansu? I don't even know how to pronounce his last name.
I don't know. I couldn't figure out how to pronounce it. He's a super nice guy. Super nice guy.
He's one of the leading kratom experts. He's a really interesting guy. I remember years ago he was on the Kratom Science podcast. I always remembered his name because it was just an unusual name. But what's interesting about him is that he's there in New Hampshire. So we're going to watch him speak in just a moment. He's an assistant professor at Dartmouth and director of addiction services at New Hampshire Hospital in Concord. And there's a couple of parts I'm going to replay because he brings up some really important things that every legislator needs to hear. And so I'm so glad he was there in New Hampshire. But I'm going to play his whole testimony, but two pieces of it really stood out to me a lot that I think we all need to clip up and be posting all over social media, because this is one of the experts. He's been researching kratom for a really long time. So let's watch his testimony.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon. So I'm Dr. Cornell Stanchu. I'm a quadruple boarded physician with my primary specialty being in addiction medicine. I'm an assistant professor at Dartmouth, but I'm here representing myself in my own personal professional opinion. I am in full support of SB 557, and I've been involved in kratom research for the last 12 years and have contributed to much of the literature that was mentioned earlier, documenting the clinical impact of kratom on individuals with mental health, substance use, or no conditions. As we have established, kratom is a plant that's been used for many, many, many years, centuries in Southeast Asia with no documented adverse effects. However, we're just now starting to see toxicities and adverse effects related to the products that are available and are drastically different from the plant itself. From my clinical standpoint, I see both sides of the coin. So I have patients who have benefited from kratom. They're able to manage their conditions, avoid opioid regimens, but then at the same time, also individuals who suffer harms, develop addiction, and require treatment for it. The only difference is the individuals that are able to use kratom in a therapeutic way are you getting it from a vendor that does third-party testing. It's more of the powder, the ground leaf material, as opposed to those that are experiencing harm where they're gravitating towards the concentrated products. As a little bit of a background, the market has evolved in 3 waves. When I first started looking into it in 2008, it was primarily raw leaf material that was sold, and individuals were mixing it in water or doing the swish and toss method. Second wave, it started around 2014. That's when solvent-based extracts started to come and manufacturers started to take advantage of those 7-OH concentrations. And the third wave, which is the one we're currently in, that's when we're seeing highly concentrated lab modified, synthetically made either 7-OH or something that hasn't been mentioned, mitragynine, pseudoindoxil, and that's the products that are most similar to fentanyl and other opioids. So overall, I'm very pleased to see the provisions in this bill compared to other legislative efforts in other states. This is probably the strongest one that I'm aware of. Definitely balances the risk and benefits. I do have some suggestions to further strengthen the recommendations in this bill. One of them would be to include a research provision for synthetic and semi-synthetic products. So, for example, if myself at Dartmouth, I am to decide to conduct a clinical study, I should be able to utilize and leverage those products to better learn about them. The second is regarding labeling. As currently written, the label notes interaction with prescribed medications, but nothing is being mentioned about illicits or alcohol. So I would include that as well. Second, labeling, I would also add consult with a healthcare provider if they are currently using Kratom. The current wording is if they plan to start using. And lastly, I wanted to mention, I heard a lot of talk about synthetic here. And what we're really discussing with 7-OH, and it's not included in there, is semi-synthetic, because 7-OH is not synthetic, it's semi-synthetic. It's found in the plant. So when you take mitragynine and you make it into 7-OH in a lab, that's semi-synthetic. When you take other alkaloids and you manipulate it in the lab to mitragynine, pseudoindoxil, that's synthetic. So I would like to see this semi-synthetic wording being used. So overall, with these small additions, I think it would really enhance consumer safety and make this probably the strongest bill on Kratom that we have in our nation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for taking my testimony. In your experience with Kratom, whether in natural form or synthetic form, is it possible to overdose on substance?
So I've actually published a study on the overdose risk related to Kratom. And in its natural form, one would have to consume tremendous amount of leaves to even develop a toxicity. It would be pretty impossible to get that. And to ingest that many leaves is just not possible. In the current synthetic and semi-synthetic forms, absolutely. There are 7-OH, mitragynine, pseudoindoxil are far more potent than morphine and even fentanyl. So it would be possible. That's why we need regulation.
And from an overdose, could the overdose lead to death?
So in its natural form.
And this is the synthetic form, because I overdosing on, an opioid, it's pretty clear. It slows the breathing down to the point that the person dies.
So in its natural form, the first sign of toxicity would be more of a stimulant-like seizure. So not what we see with opioid-like overdoses where you get respiratory depression. With the current products, they resemble more opioids. Yes, you would get the respiratory depression.
Thank you.
Sandra.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Dr. Stanchu, for your testimony and coming here today from Dartmouth. I'm curious, could you extrapolate a little bit more on your suggestion to insert an amendment that includes research provisions?
So in the event that someone were to undertake a clinical study under the regulatory body of an IRB, it should be allowed to have access to synthetic and semi-synthetic products for studying in that controlled condition.
Sandra, this one more. I'm just taking some notes, and we appreciate some of your expertise on this. You mentioned that semi-synthetic, and that's when they have the leaf in its natural form. Are you familiar with how difficult is the process to do that with? Because you see, let's just say you have the natural leaves, and it's not enough that you could consume the natural form of overdose it by simply eating the leaves or drink whatever you do. Mm-hmm. But if that was made synthetic or semi-synthetic, would that increase the amount of active ingredients?
So what I would do is increase the potency because as it was said earlier, 7-hydroxy, which is the one we're concerned about, is present in something like 0.03% of the leaf. But through extraction method, you take a great amount of leaves and you extract just that from all of them. And you really, really concentrate it into tablets that contain just that.
So just to clarify, the kratom's not being enhanced in any way to then make the synthetic or semi-synthetic. They're extracting a high concentration amount of it.
You could enhance it as well. You could take it through a different process where you take mitragynine from the kratom leaf and you oxidize it to 7-hydroxymitragynine and then compound it into a concentrated form.
And you mentioned that you published an article on this or a medical journal on this. Can you forward that to the committee?
Sure, I can send all my publications on kratom.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
I thought his testimony was really good.
I thought so too. I thought that was
And this is a guy
Very
who's like
good.
an addiction
agree.
specialist, addiction doctor. And
Yeah.
usually those in the addiction side are very anti-kratom. But he said he's been studying it since 2008. I've seen his name come up so many times over the years.
I'm pretty sure he was there in 2016 as well, because like he looked super familiar and I'm like, no, it's not like just from seeing him on things, because I've heard of him before. And then my friend Jen was like, yep, nope, he'll be here. And I was like, oh, okay. And then we got to talking. I was like, yeah, I think we've met before. I can't remember where, because I've seen him at a few hearings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is really nice. It is really nice to see an addiction specialist know the science and the truth and not just go up there and slam everything.
Right. Absolutely. Well, for anybody that just didn't quite catch it, I'm going to replay the two very short clips where he clarified at this committee hearing of two things that seem to come up quite a bit. So let me first play the part where he's trying to differentiate, the synthetic, semi-synthetic. And I think this is so important because so many times we're hearing synthetic constantly on
right.
the news
And
and
it's
with the
not. It's
legislators.
partial.
Yeah, the legislators are saying it all the time. This is an expert, so listen carefully to what he says.
And lastly, I wanted to mention, I heard a lot of talk about synthetic here. And what we're really discussing with 7-OH, and it's not included in there, is semi-synthetic, because 7-OH is not synthetic, it's semi-synthetic. It's found in the plant. So when you take mitragynine and you make it into 7-OH in a lab, that's semi-synthetic. When you take other alkaloids and you manipulate it in the lab to mitragynine, pseudoindoxyl, that's synthetic. So I would like to see this semi-synthetic wording being used.
I love that he says that.
Me too. Me too.
I think
Because
that's so important.
That was really good.
the
Yeah,
fact
that
that it
differentiation is
originates.
important.
Yep, and the fact that it originates from kratom is why it's a semi-synthetic. The other part makes it synthetic, not the original part, which came from kratom. One of the main alkaloids in kratom itself, or 7-O could not exist. Now, when you get into the pseudoindoxyl, that's fully synthetic because now it is man-made.
Yeah.
Now they're basically extracting 7-O,
Right.
and you've totally moved kratom out of the way, and then it becomes the fully the synthetic. So, but I love that they want to study it and learn about it, because there's so much we need to know about it. And I'm so interested in learning more and more, and how it can be used in all these different ways. And it's also for a harm reduction for people, even if they are overtaking it in an amount that I would never be able to take, because they're reducing their harms from illicit street drugs, and that can, we just had the whole fentanyl crisis that people were dying.
Look what just
then I
happened in
can't
Florida with the
Yeah.
ban there. Overdoses are up by 300%
That's it.
since
So
7-OH
even
ban.
Wow.
Right. So even if somebody
Wonderful
like me
job,
who's using
lawmakers.
it, right, for chronic pain wouldn't take a larger amount, because what I'm taking is assisting me. If they took more and they're keeping themselves from death, and off the streets, then I can't take that from them either.
I mean, if
You
this
know,
doesn't scream to the whole community, like it's up 300% since the ban in Florida on 7-0. Like,
yeah.
Where's the data coming from for that?
Oh gosh, one of them were talking about it at the hearing. It's somewhere. It's somebody was talking about it either outside of the hearing or inside of the hearing. It was I can't
I
even
would love
remember
to
because
see
I've
the
been
data
hearing
on that.
everything. But yeah,
'Cause
they
I
said
would too.
yeah,
I mean, that would be profound.
300%.
Yeah. I mean, the thing
300%.
is, for me, I need to see like the data,
Yeah.
the the proof and all of these things. There's so many, what drives me nuts, every side to this, people say this, people say that. Well, they dispute this, they dispute that. Bring the receipts. So
Yeah.
we can see 100%. I listen to Dr. Stansel because he's an expert. He's been an expert a long time. And I mean, for him to talk about 7-OH is semi-synthetic. People need to stop calling it synthetic. The media needs to stop doing it, and the legislators need to stop doing it because they're wrong.
It's just simple. It's literally and it goes back to the language and how they're wording it.
Well, because you get this
it's like
perception.
you gotta have the knowledge on what you're speaking on, because what it's like the game of telephone. One person says something and
That's
then it just
right.
kind of goes and it gets like everybody gets super confused, and it's like just we all just need to band together and fight for all of the alkaloids of all of the plant as kratom as a whole, because that's what it
Agreed.
is.
Yeah.
That's what it
Right.
is. Our body breaks down the I can't even, I'm not even gonna butcher it, the mit,
Mitragynine.
and then turns it into 7-0. So it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
One
And
thing
get
that I
it
would
regulated, regulate it all. Or
Right.
if you're make it a schedule, is it 5 that they can do more stuff with it and actually
I don't
like
want it in the
do-
hands of big pharma. I don't want
Mm-mm.
7-0 in
Right.
the hands of
Well,
big pharma. What
Right.
am I like?
They're
Hi.
already
That'll
trying
cut
to.
me right out of it because I mean, people still have barriers or not enough money for co-pays, insurances,
Right.
everything else. So as long as we take care of ourselves, it should be available. And if you
Mhm.
don't want to use it, everybody here knows what our tea looks like, what our plain leaf kratom looks like.
Right.
Don't buy it. Don't take it.
And
I
unfortunately,
mean, and then
because of
educate the other people. Sorry.
because a lot of the research that has taken place on kratom over the years, this stuff is already in the hands of big pharma.
Oh,
They just haven't figured out a way to
They're
use it
already
yet.
trying to make it. Yeah.
7-OH is
they're
already
And-
on the pathway to being a pharmaceutical. I
Yes.
mean, it's
Yes.
it's not
Mit
hard.
and
It's not,
7.
it's
Mit
not
and 7 are.
It is not hard to
Well,
find.
and the
that
other thing,
dangerous? Exactly.
the other thing that I really keyed on and liked the fact that he brought it up publicly, the pseudoindoxin.
Yes.
That has got to be talked about more as well, because those are the problem children.
It's already
The
shown.
And if
folks
we're
that are
gonna
trying
fight
to
against
create
something,
that.
we should be fighting against the fully synthetics.
Yes.
If we're going to fight against something, then it should be all these other ones, the MGM 15, 16, all these other ones rolling out. And the fully, I mean, if we want to fight against something, it should have been that. For me, it would have been that. Not for that, not for kratom extracts. And I don't even take extracts. They don't help me enough. I've tried them. They're not for me, but some people are helped by them. I'm not going to take that away from other people because I don't use them, so I the three types, and then anything
Well,
else.
it all has to come back to education.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I know people get tired of hearing that, but it truly is the answer to the challenges we're facing. Education of ourselves, of other consumers, and of legislators, and even scientists, because some of them are getting it wrong too.
Yeah.
And if we can't bring ourselves back together to actually educate, then we might as well walk away from the fight right now, because it won't be one fighting our differences. It will be one on educating everyone.
And see, just like Chris just said, the pseudo indoxyl's been added to some Kratom products for over a
Yes.
decade.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
I mean, they're probably already
And nobody's
tinkering
talking
and
about that.
and then maybe that's why people are getting
Addicted.
the hook that they're saying they're getting, because it's already been basically in a way tampered with, because it's without our knowledge. It would be without our knowledge or other people's knowledge.
Yeah. And then you've got these new ones that they're trying to come up with. You know what, folks? Back off and leave us alone.
Yeah.
Let us educate ourselves. Let us educate our lawmakers. Let us educate the scientists and come to the realization, prohibition does not work.
Right.
And if the Florida stats are right and it's 300%, that's horrendous. If it's only 3%, it's still horrendous, because those numbers should not be increasing if we're doing our jobs educating people.
I mean, they don't even like stop to look and say, like, it's us advocates and us consumers who have held our vendors to an accountability. I remember, because when I started taking this, it was Ziplocs and Sharpies, and people were taking it out of their house. The majority of the people that I knew at the time were not vending in proper areas. And everybody just was like, no, like, I got sick. Many people I know got sick. And everybody just was like, if we're going to take this, we've got to, you're not going to walk into a restaurant with like a D rating or, mice and rodents running around, just like you're not going to take Kratom off of some shed floor. It's like, you've got to hold vendors to accountability. And it's like, if the lawmakers would just stop and look and say, hey, like, wow, look at what these consumers have done, because this is what's working for them, and they're holding them to some serious accountability. And I mean, anybody that I know, like any vendor that is selling any 7-OH or any other extract or any Kratom that I go to, everyone properly, does the GMP, the proper labeling, everything is done properly, the lab testing, the whole 9 yards, because that's someone's, life you're messing with,
Yep. And we as consumers are the ones that brought and also left behind these vendors, because the ones that were willing to do it correctly are still in business. The ones that weren't, for the most part, have fallen by the wayside. And that's where they belong, because they were in it for money. They didn't even know about the product they were selling, and they didn't care what that product was or who they sold it to or how they sold it to them. Those folks, for the most part, are gone. And that's the way it should be.
Agreed.
We have to, again, goes back to education and responsibility for self. We have to care enough about ourselves to know what we're putting in our body, where it came from, what it might or might not do, how it could affect other things that we're consuming. We have to be educated.
Agreed.
Because all these regulations obviously do not work. Because you know what? Black market is still alive and well in everything. Has the drug war stopped any of the drugs? Is that where these legislators want to see Kratom go to? Because none of us are going to stop taking it.
Nope.
No, I
You're
mean,
going to have to go to
it'll
factories
go,
to find it.
I mean, if people can get it already in a banned state, do you think that consumers, United States wide are going to be like, no, we're just like, no, like, we're going to have to find it other ways, and that's like, why are you making us all freaking criminals? Like, what the heck? Like, I see when I was at the hearing in New Hampshire, the hearing up at Concord, xylitine, or however you pronounce the new one that's out there, this new drug that people are, dying, literally, dying from, that they wanted to put that as a Schedule 3. But yeah, we're sitting here talking about Kratom and or 7-O to a Schedule 1. And I'm like,
makes sense. Right.
I'm like, this is killing people, but put it as a Schedule 3. This is not. Yeah.
Doesn't make
And
sense.
I think a lot of our education efforts has to be pushed towards media, because they've been saying the same, and excuse my language for anybody that gets offended, the same stupid crap for the last 15 years. Knock it off. Grow up, quit sensationalizing, start telling the truth and telling balanced stories and get a new hook.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Because your old hook is boring and ridiculous.
Yeah, well said. And another thing, just when it comes to this discussion about 7.0, is helping so many people in the chronic pain community, whereas so many people in the pain community get their meds taken away. That happened to me. Luckily, natural kratom works really well for me, so I have no need for 7.0H. But if natural kratom wasn't working for me, of course I'll use 7.0H. Why would I not? I'd rather use that than a pharmaceutical, which is far more dangerous. Plus, I'm a responsible adult. I was responsible with my gazillion pills in my possession at any given time. If I was abusing them, I could definitely harm myself. And that never happened because I was a very responsible consumer of pharmaceuticals that the government loves and the pharmaceutical industry loves, that never overused them, never got super loopy and high off of them. But I would much rather consume something like natural kratom, and if that didn't work, then I would very seriously look at 7.0H. But I'm not going to demonize 7.0H when I hear countless stories and know so many of y'all in the community that greatly benefit from it with chronic pain. But here's the thing that's interesting, and another point of view to this. The people that are abusing 7.0H, are they using it for harm reduction? No, because it doesn't seem to help for harm reduction. Natural kratom seems to. How many people using 7.0H says, wow, this curbs my cravings? This is great. Like they say that about natural kratom, right? I think what's happening with people consuming 7.0H that do not have chronic pain, that are looking for something to get them high,
they're
or
looking for a
feel
legal
good.
high.
Yeah.
See where I work a lot,
And that's the fine
into the
line,
harm
right.
reduction. Because I do a lot of harm reduction, I mean, if I'm out, I've got Narcan on me all the time, and I do harm reduction at festivals and stuff. But where I've been, like the customer service end of this kratom, business for the last 8.5, 9 years, I've talked to quite a lot of people, and then I talked to like a lot of other advocates too, that have so many people have gotten off of fentanyl with 7.0H. They couldn't go get a fix. Granted, they did go to the gas station or to the smoke shop and picked it up, but they were able to stop fentanyl. That means they weren't, is this going to be my last dose, of fentanyl?
That's what,
am I going out,
Yes.
Because, you don't have that worry. So there's quite a bit of these 7.0 users that actually have come off of like pharmaceuticals. Some have stopped, same with plain leaf. Some have stopped drinking, but there's a lot of people that have stopped using fentanyl. And like, when you look at like the statistics in like Florida and California, and like each overdose thing that you're, and they'll list each drug. This is down by certain percent. This, cocaine, fentanyl, each drug is down by certain percent for overdoses. Well, we know that Narcan ain't doing it all, because when you see how much Narcan was dispersed for the year, and then you see how much the percentages in overdoses has gone down per state. I mean, we were 26% down for the year for like state, like, United States wise in overdoses. And that was like the biggest in years. Nobody's ever heard of that. And that's been in the last like 2 years since 7's been around. Can we say it's all 7? No. Can we say it's all Narcan? No. Can we say it's both of them? Absolutely. That's definitely helping, and then there's some people that, they just may be going the complete, no substance, no nothing. And they just, whatever treatment they choose to come off of, whatever, many people have come off of Suboxone and methadone using 7.0H. So it's like, I guess I'm lucky on one end. I get to see a lot of that side of that, but in a sense, it's like, it's a lot, it's hard. And I've seen, people that have gone from fentanyl to 7.0 and now are just using regular plain leaf, and they've had their lives back. And that's,
well, incredible. And I think something that goes to that is, there again, going back to education, making sure that people that are coming off of opioids be it street or illicit or prescription, if they're coming onto Kratom in any form, when they go to quit Kratom, they may experience pause. That's something that none of us talk about nearly enough anymore.
Yeah, I deal with pause.
Yeah,
Stephanie deals with
and
pause.
so many people are saying, well, we're seeing an increase in rehab because a lot of these folks were never educated that you cannot just quit Kratom cold turkey.
Right.
You have to do a tapered withdrawal the same you would as if you were still on a drug, because that will potentially rear its ugly head. Now, does it happen to everyone? No. But that's where a lot of these stories of addiction and withdrawals are coming from. People experiencing pause and they don't know it.
And a
They
lot of
don't
people are just
think
making
about it.
the jump without tapering as well. They're just like, we're
Yeah.
just going to stop, you know?
Yeah,
And
I feel good,
that's,
I can quit.
that right there. Could that cause seizures? Absolutely. That's like with alcohol, with, you know, coming off caffeine, with, you can have a seizure withdrawing from anything if you quit it cold turkey. You know, it's happened. So, I mean, I tell people, if you have an addictive personality and you can't hold yourself accountable, don't touch it. If you've not tried plain leaf before trying the extract, don't touch it. Start with the plain leaf, you know, and if you can't hold yourself accountable, just don't even bat an eye at it, because I could see, I guess I could see it from both aspects. You know, somebody who myself has been in recovery, and then also someone who has dealt with chronic pain. You know, I see, like with myself, the 7.0 doesn't take away my pain enough. I rather have the plain leaf and all of the alkaloids, because that's what works for me. But
And I
Twinkle,
use
it works way
both.
better for her, you know? So it's like,
It does.
I'm just
And
sitting
I
here like,
use
who am I to sit
both.
there and tell people what they can and can't take? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, are you hurting me? Are you hurting yourself? Are you hurting anyone else? Then what the heck? Leave us alone. Like, leave our plants
yeah,
alone.
exactly. That's how I
Right.
feel. It's like the people I know using the ones that are harming themselves are having other issues that they're not
Exactly.
addressing.
Mhm.
And, you know, if they were more educated about what they were consuming, I still can't get
If
over
we had
how
more
many
mental health
people.
access and more, you know, maybe people wouldn't be doing what they're doing to try to
And the first
escape.
several months that it was out, I mean, even back when we were in our X space, doing our X space and way back on the Gals, I was unsure about 7.0 then. I was concerned because of all that I had already heard. You know,
Same.
they jump onto the gas station heroin, you're in a group, and now everybody's, and all somebody has to do is hear that phrase one time, and now they're spreading it into every group they go to, and they don't even know what they're talking about, especially in regards to Kratom and then 702, you know. So I was just, I mean, I had reservations. I was worried. I was like, yeah, I would never, but
No,
I
it's
just get hit
made with
pain
cool
that,
shock. That one, that's the one going around. It's like,
exactly. And that
it's
was
no
going
different than
around.
how you're extracting
Everything is
any
extracted
cannabinoid,
with
you know,
a
like
chemical.
it's the same, it's the same as
It's interesting when you dive into that to learn more about it, is the type of chemical used to pull that out. And pull shock, it's just like saying that there are some things that sound horrific when it's said out loud, but it's used to make our
Right,
food.
but it's still made it. It's
And
still
we
most
hear
of the
these
things we
words.
take is
scare
used.
tactic.
Right.
Right. And like
Right.
when you really dive into that, is the type of chemical. It's just interesting how every side to this whole thing, there's certain words people use.
And it's like, what's the big
Well,
picture?
and
Are you purposely putting the whole community against each other? Like, what is the big picture? Like, honestly, when it all comes down to it, brass tacks, it's about the freaking dollar. It's about the dollar. Everything that I'm seeing, I mean, heck, at the Nashua, New Hampshire hearing, you know, the United Way was donated $200,000 for their, you know, however many, no votes. Had we not shown in with 12 people, it would have automatically passed and it would have been banned, you know, but we got the Board of Health in, we got everything else. It's like, what's really going on behind closed doors? Why is the Board of Health, you know, like having to come in? Why is the United Way being donated $200,000 to come in and vote against Kratom, but yet they're about ready to walk out 2 seconds later and go have a drink and then get in their car and drive, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, going back to BAE, our stance is we advocate for natural pure leaf Kratom. We advocate for natural botanicals, period.
Period.
Partly because we aren't smart enough to know enough about any of these other substances to advocate for them. We advocate for pure botanicals. Here, it keeps it very calm, very simple. Everybody knows where we stand. That doesn't mean I'm going to come attack anybody.
Right.
It also means that I know people personally that use 7-0. I'm not going to tell them no.
Exactly.
But I'm not going to stand up and advocate for 7-0. I'm going
And I
to
fully
advocate
respect
for
that.
pure
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
clear, and
And
let's
we
be
all
clear
have
what's
the right.
going on.
Yes.
Let's be very
Yeah.
clear, because I know there are people watching this right now going, they're all just all about advocating for 7-0H. First of all, I don't take it. Many of us here don't take it. Those that
Right.
do use
Nope,
it,
you guys are plain
can-
leaf. Yep.
like, I am not going to demonize my friends who get benefit
Exactly.
utilizing it. And those that want to do that, fine, you go demonize, because that's what some people, like to do. I'm not going to demonize people that are getting relief, because the shoes they're in are shoes I could very well be in as well. I was
It's
already
we were all in the early days consuming kratom.
Yeah.
Right.
and I was
Yep.
demonized enough in pain management. I couldn't sit here and tell everybody I was taking OxyContin and Percocet. Those
Right.
names would be like,
Oh,
people
right.
would
The
be
stigma
horrified.
is real. It is real. When
Absolutely.
people get on a
Absolutely.
bandwagon, the stigma is real in any regard, whether it be the opioid analgesics or it's kratom or now 7-OH or an extract or just whatever, and I used to be, I've gone through a lot of growth myself. I mean, way back, I mean, I didn't understand how people could get out of line with pain medicine and take so much that they acquired an addiction. And I didn't understand how people would be their 30-day supply would be gone in 3 days, and then they're running to one doctor and doctor hopping and pharmacy hopping and doing all this. And it made me feel a type of way. I was bothered, but I've also grown. And I'm not going to put other people down that are trying to help themselves, save themselves in any capacity. Am I still worried about people who get out of line with everything? Absolutely. Because I've loved many of people and still do that have whatever we want to call it, addictions, substance use disorder, they're use disorders in one manner or another. And not all of it is a drug or an actual medication or I'm very serious on the sugar aspect because I'm living that too. And it breaks my heart every day. But I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be cruel to people, but I respect people for being tea only. That I absolutely okay. I am not offended by that. What can be a little, I won't say that people out there are offending me per se, but can be a little heart tugging at times is being referred to as those people, those 7-OH advocates, the thems, and I wouldn't do that to somebody else. That is a little bit of heart tug. It can tug a little bit. But at the end of the day, I am responsible for my life and somebody else isn't. So they're not paying my bills. They're
That's
not
right. That's
serving
exactly
me my
right.
dinner. They're not anything like that. So you can talk, anything you want. That's perfectly fine. So,
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Thank you.
Oh, this is quite the conversation today. This is awesome. I want to get to, we're not going to have time to do everything today, but I want to get to the city of Los Alamitos in California. There was an awesome guy, Ed Arthur, who is a retired resident of the area that went to go speak in person. And it was really exciting to see his testimony. So I want to play this for you all. And I will have links to all, because we don't have time to play the replays of all these hearings, but I'll have the links to it in my YouTube here. So that way, if anybody wants to go back and watch the whole thing later with any of these, but let me play this for y'all. It's a great testimony. Some of the mics are low. So.
My name is Ed Arthur. Just a little bit of my story, and I appreciate it.
Let me, some people might have to turn, can you all hear it? It's real low for me. I can't hardly hear it. So on those who are watching on YouTube and X, if it's super low, we'll just if everybody can just mute their mic so we don't speak up all, because sometimes our volume is low, so you turn it up however you're listening, the person on the other end listening to us. And then if we interrupt and talk, it might be like super loud for them. So
talking about kratom. I've always called it kratom. So if I say kratom, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm 78 years old. As I said, my name is Ed Arthur. I've never done this before but this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. Seems weird to talk about a plant that's near and dear to your heart, but this one happens to be. I retired 3 years ago. I'm a wood finisher. I've been a wood finisher, refinisher for over 50 years, self-employed. Lately last 10 years, just doing entry doors, stripping, refinishing entry doors by myself. And let's say I just retired 3 years ago. So I was able to work up until 75 years old with a bad back. I have stenosis in my back, and I have 2 torn rotator cuffs. But I credit kratom for my ability to continue working relatively pain-free. I just kind of testify to the use of this product as being very, very beneficial for myself and for many people that I know. I know other people that are in the trades that have had a lot of work done on their backs and their other parts of their body, and they're in pain. And they didn't want to be on opioids. I had back surgery years ago, about 10 years ago, and they prescribed me an opioid, and I tried it for a while. I said, I just don't want to do this. I don't want to go that route. And I found kratom back in those days, and it was weird because I could find it some distributor somewhere, and I tried it, and I thought, this is amazing stuff. I have no side effects from it. I get tested every year. At my age, I have to be tested for every organ, especially being involved with lacquers and solvents all my life. No deleterious effects from it whatsoever. I don't have an addiction to it, unless you can say like a coffee a day is an addiction. And I think most people in here can probably agree to that. And that's as far as it goes. I take 4 teaspoons, level teaspoons. That's about 5 grams each. Each dose, I do it 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. I'm able to just have a normal day. But the thing that just scares the heck out of me is this 7-OH. To me, it's the devil. Because I see that they're taking something that is very beneficial to people that are my age and older and younger and around the world, and getting great benefit from it. But then they start introducing the synthetic stuff. It sounds to me like it's just horrible. As far as like getting off of it, the addictive qualities of it, it just sounds bad. And I'm just so afraid that they kind of are going to paint the whole thing with one broad brush. And it's just not fair. And I know it's difficult for governments to kind of to walk a fine line. No offense, but sometimes they just kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? Okay, well, if it says kratom in it, it's bad. But I'm just testifying that in the powdered form, regulate it all you want. 18 and older can only be the only people that can buy it. Make sure that it's tested, it's safe. But it's kind of like the American dream in a way, because there are vendors all around the country that send it out. They make it's a little cottage industry for a lot of people, but it helps millions of people. And I can just testify to the fact that it's helped me. So I think that's basically it. I'm just really concerned that local municipalities will just say, if it has the word kratom in it, they're gonna just toss the whole thing out. And the whole community, I think the kratom community, I think is fighting for that. I think it's almost a David and Goliath, because there's a lot of money to be had in this 7-OH. And I went to a smoke shop. You cut me off if you want. I don't know how far.
There's a timer somewhere. I just.
Oh, okay.
So you watch the timer, and I won't cut you off. The timer will though.
I went to a smoke shop to get a cigar the other day, and I saw this stuff up on the shelves. I go, "What's the deal with this 708?" She goes, "Oh," I said, "People buying it?" He goes, "Yeah, people buy it a lot." One person said, "I have a couple customers that come in. They spend $200-300 a day on this stuff, and they keep coming back for it." Oh, that's it. Okay. So anyway, I'll sit here for a while if anybody has any questions. But thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it so much.
I have another face I don't recognize.
He's with me.
Oh, I should have known that. I apologize. I don't know your face, friend. All right. So, is there anybody hiding in the back behind the wall? And we will go ahead and close oral communications. Updates from the mayor. No one fed me any, so I don't have any updates from city staff.
All right. Y'all can turn your volumes back down.
Wow. I think
Yeah.
that he said that was the first time he'd ever done that too. And he just did amazing.
Yeah, it was his first time to go do something like that. And he did a great job. It dawned on me after I stepped away for a moment to take a quick break that I should put the closed captioning on that video. So, because it was hard to hear it. Their
They were
volume,
really low. Yeah.
yeah, but we're gonna watch the mayor pro tem speak because boy, he has something interesting to say, and his volume's fine. So some people speaking, the volume was not turned on. I think their mics weren't on. But that's the why advocacy is so important. Speaking out.
It really makes a difference showing up and just, they see you as a person. You're not just another email they're reading. And when they hear us, it comes across a lot stronger than I think, just sending in an email, because I know they get quite a few, not enough emails. We're not getting enough people even, simply signing anything really quick, like I don't know where advocacy went, but it's honestly getting draining and exhausting, carrying such a heavy load for so many people that either aren't aware of what's going on or just, oblivious to how important it is. It's a lot. It's been a lot. Last year and this year is just, it's
a lot.
I'm exhausted.
The apathy.
Yep. And it's so important because when they see us and they hear us talk, we're not what they are hearing we're going to be like when we come in there. You know what I mean? We're lucid. We're talking to them. We make sense. We have the science. And I don't understand how they can even deny that that's what's happening and it's helping us. Because I couldn't walk in and stand up in front of anybody or even do this without having my tea. I couldn't sit up without the tea.
Yeah, when I was in the Concord, New Hampshire hearing, and you heard me say, I have all my faculties about me, because somebody, I think it was like a nurse or an RN or, some, practitioner, I don't know what she was, but she was like, we're seeing withdrawals every day. People are coming in every day. And, and she's lumping 7 with that. And I'm just like, what the heck, and she's like, this is what's going on. This is what's going on, and they're getting high. They're looking for high. Anybody that's taking 7-0 is like, basically, just like insinuating like that's, because you're going to need more and you're going to take more because you want to get high. And no, ma'am, that's not what's going on.
Right.
Like my dose hasn't
and some people
changed
do believe that. Exactly. They just want to put that on everyone.
Yeah.
And everyone is different. So while that might apply to a few, it doesn't apply to everyone.
I'm sitting there going, and I have walked, and I purposely have walked in to one of the meetings, one of the hearings, just taking 7-0. I said, do I look like I'm on something that's strong, however much stronger that they say of morphine? I said, because if I was, I'd be kibbing out drooling on myself over here right now. If that was the case, I'm like, so you can see someone who is standing right here, all her faculties. And he was like, no, he's like, you're completely there. He's like, he goes, morphine. He goes, that's some heavy stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I get where it binds to the same receptors, but it's not Like when people hear it's, you know, have 10 times, 30 times stronger, I
Mhm.
think automatically thinking like, wow, that's a really strong drug and you're going to be really messed up from it. And
Right.
it's not that
Yeah,
at all. You know,
exactly.
it's not that at all.
It's not. No, we wouldn't be sitting here.
No, I
We
wouldn't be able to
wouldn't be
function
doing
if I was on
right.
morphine or anything
And I
similar to
took
it.
it for 3 years. So that is how I try to compare it, because it is nothing like the morphine that I took. And
I was
while
in bed with
sometimes,
all that.
yeah, I you can't do nothing.
No, you
I
can't.
mean,
Yeah,
you
and
just,
they're
you're
worried
just,
about driving and all that other stuff. But here, go take morphine and all those other pills. You know, just be careful, but use your best discretion. Again,
right. But
accountability.
it's okay because it's the pharmaceutical. But I mean, we still have to respect it the same. We have to respect all of these the same as we would respect an opioid anyway, you know, for ourselves. If so.
I'm going to play the mayor pro tem. Let me kind of explain this. So first of all, Los Alamitos is a small city in Orange County, California. California's been really under attack, especially in Southern California. This is just one of many areas. The speaker we're getting ready to hear from, his name is Jordan Nefulda. He is a member of the city council and serves as mayor pro tem, which is, for those that don't know, that's somebody who is selected by the fellow council members that steps in when the mayor is unavailable. So he's like he's a city council member, but he's the fill-in when the mayor's not there. And
pretty important.
Yes. Now, there's some audio issues. Again, you can hear him a little bit better. You know what? I'm gonna put the closed captioning on. But at some point he trails off and it totally fades out and I'll just stop. But just listen to what he says, because this is really, we don't hear this very often from a council member.
Yeah, I would just like to comment that I myself have used this before. I know a ton of people that use Kratom, and it does work. I have psoriatic arthritis, and I can't even play catch without taking something, and this seems to be the most effective. So I have concerns of two, you know, people that need it, and I know the FDA says it doesn't work or whatever, but they've told us a lot of things. So my point is, you know, there is an actual need, whether it's in our minds or not. I think this product works, and I'd hate to see us, you know, ban it outright, especially, you know, I mean, as we sit here today, we don't even know if it's being sold or if it's even a problem here. I think personally that the most prudent would be to follow the county standards. Like if you're 18 or over, you can buy it, and I understand all the problems associated with that, but you know, it just seems like, you know, good people get screwed because there are bad people out there doing stupid things, and I hate to see that with a product like this. So that's my thoughts.
All right. Y'all can turn your volumes back down. Those that are watching this broadcast, it was their microphones, but interesting testimony coming from somebody who's a decision maker.
He consumes
Yep.
it. And it
I
works.
love that line. Bad people doing stupid things.
Yeah.
That summed it up. And sometimes it's even good people doing stupid things.
Yes.
But
Absolutely. Good point being brought up here that Kratom, keep hearing that Kratom is a full agonist when it's a partial. We don't hear that enough. NX meaning a pharma drug. But that was some exciting testimony to hear. I was going to play the South Dakota, but we're not going to have time because we're already 2 hours now into this. But what I will play, I'm sure people heard that there was an interesting ruckus that happened in South Dakota. I'll play that part. So, y'all have all seen and heard like what happened, right? Or is anybody here hadn't seen it yet on this panel?
Not sure yet.
I don't
might have,
know
but
if
I
I
don't know.
saw that one. That may have been the one that I missed. I think that is the one that I missed. Oh, I'm
Let
in for a
me
surprise. I'm excited.
make sure I queue up the right, yeah, because we just don't have time to play it all. But well, let me see, because I was going to play some of the intro, but it's long. It's like 12 minutes, and then I mean, I guess it depends on if y'all want to stay a little bit or start wrapping up.
I'm fine. It's up to you, gals.
I mean, I wanted to kind of start at the beginning when they first talk about, in South Dakota, what they're trying to do. This is a House Health and Human Services Committee that had a meeting to talk about kratom and banning it. So yeah, I was going to start off, if there was time, play 12 minutes of them talking about it, and because they bring it up, talk about the ban bill, and then one of the people does like a whole presentation, and it's quite interesting because they have all this information that so much of it is not accurate. And then you have some science information, clarification on a death that's very interesting that I wanted to play. And then hearing Mac Hadow, the AKA, give his testimony. You know what? Let me just play the little thing with Mac, because I mean, this is the thing that happened that people should be aware of. That
Oh, wait, if it's that one, then maybe I did see it.
how the opposition reacted to while somebody's testifying.
Okay, yes, I did see this one. It's good.
Yeah, and the aftermath of what, I'm sure some people hadn't seen this yet, and they're in suspense going, what is she talking about? It's very short, but I'm going to play this little blip here, and then I'll start at the beginning. We'll see how far we want to go. So this part is just going to be where they let people speak that are on the Zoom, and they start with Mac. So let me just play this. Just pay attention to like what happens while he's speaking. And again, it's very brief.
When we call upon you, please. Mac Hadow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm with the American Kratom Association. We strongly oppose this bill. I can tell you that the FDA is actively investigating every single one of the reports that you've heard, and their conclusion is that deaths are rare, polydrug use, adulterated kratom products, and underlying health conditions. Thank you.
You got to kick those guys out.
Wow.
It was Susan and Dan. Just remove them from the meeting. All right, Melody Wolf.
So they kicked out 2 people from the KDA.
Very disrespectful.
For doing that, for interrupting like that.
Yep.
And interesting that one of them caught it and saw exactly who it was. If you're watching the screen, you could see who it was, because they unmute. They have specific instructions. Only unmute when you're called on. And 2 people decided to unmute themselves and do what they did, and got kicked out for it.
So rude, heckling like that. Everybody listens to what they have to say, and I've never heard anybody be rude to them, ever.
And that's not appropriate behavior anyway in a situation like that. That's just
right. Well, we wouldn't do that to them. I mean, yeah, it's very disrespectful.
We would never do that.
Never interrupt.
Can you imagine the outcry if we did do that?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
It would make national news.
This is why it needs to be banned. Look at them. They're outbursts. They're insane. They're outbursts in the middle of a testimony.
Right.
That's right.
Right. Exactly. But man, that was just, oof. I heard that something had happened, and when I watched that, I was like, man, that's
I mean, I think it gave a few of us a little giggle for them to kind of get the boot. I mean, when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes,
Exactly.
like grow up, act like an adult. This is what we're all here doing. We're all here, to speak as adults. And if you can't act like one, well, then there's the door. Goodbye.
Exactly. Exactly.
And yet here we are, that they're painting as people that would do something like that, and we would never do it.
Right, like, oh, that would be
Correct.
addiction behavior,
Yep.
so,
Yes.
Yeah, like we're bad people or setting things on fire or anything. We're not doing none of that.
No.
We're not doing nothing. Like, we're not out here robbing things. We're not doing, nobody's doing that. Like,
exactly. Well, let me play. I'll start at the beginning because when they intro it in the presentation, because I did find the presentation quite interesting. So let's watch this together.
Forward with the due pass recommendation. All right, up next, House Bill 1151, ban Kratom and Kratom products to provide a penalty therefore. Representative Heineman, proponent testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I come before you to provide testimony on House Bill 1151, an act to ban Kratom and Kratom products and to provide a penalty thereof. There has been some news about the Kratom product in the past, this past year, and so I guess I would like you to be aware of that and consider the testimony. And I'll stand by for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Further proponent testimony for House Bill 1151.
Mr. Chair, Senator John Carley, District 29. I have a couple pictures I'm going to put up here, so should be on the screen. Thank you.
What do we have? Okay. Oh, wait.
Thank you. So HB 1151, we're looking at banning Kratom and Kratom products and to provide a penalty therefore. First of all, what is Kratom? Sometimes you hear Kratom, sometimes you hear Kratom, different terms, but I'll go through kind of what this is. So this is the Department of Justice Drug Enforcement Administration drug fact sheet. You can see it's a plant that grows originally in Southeast Asia. Consumption of its leaves produce stimulant effects in low doses and sedative effects in high doses. It can lead to psychotic symptoms and psychological and physiological dependence. There's two main ingredients. You'll hear about 7-OH or 7-hydroxymitragynine, and they're crushed or smoked, put into tea, swallowed into capsules, different forms there. So how's it abused? Mostly by oral ingestion in form of tablets, capsules, or extracts. So what are the effects? At low effects, stimulant effects, there can be increased alertness, physical energy, and talkativeness. At high doses, you can experience sedative effects. You can see some pictures of it here on the right-hand side. Kratom's effects on the body include nausea, itching, sweating, dry mouth, constipation, increased urination, tachycardia, vomiting, drowsiness, loss of appetite, and a number of other things. What is its legal status? Kratom is not controlled under the Controlled Substances Act. However, there may be some state regulations or prohibitions against the possession. The FDA has not approved Kratom for any medical use. In addition, the DEA has listed Kratom as a drug and chemical of concern. All right, let's look at the health benefits of Kratom. That certainly there's health benefits out there as well. We can see from WebMD reports that you can find Kratom leaves in some health food stores, vape shops, and online specialty stores. The most common use of it are relieve pain, depression, and opioid addiction. Traditionally, it's been used to treat fatigue, pain, diarrhea, muscle cramps. However, you can see also they list in those same supporting documents, it says Kratom can make you feel high or euphoric, similar to the effects of opioids or THC and marijuana when taken in high doses. Let's go through some history in South Dakota. So first of all, Kratom is currently legal. In 2020, there were no restrictions on Kratom in South Dakota. In 2021, House Bill 1262 introduced some age restrictions to put it at 21. And then in 2025, House Bill 1056 targeted the potency, the concentrations, and the labeling. So today, however, there's ongoing concerns, and there's other states dealing with the same issue and some new information that I think is worth hearing. Here's a quick report in South Dakota, family warning about Kratom. This news article came out about a young man in the Sioux Falls area that died from Kratom. The Minnehaha County coroner reported that as Kratom as the death there on the death report. So young man, we had him testify at one point, but that's Jake there. Unfortunately, his family lost him due to Kratom. This is what it looks like currently in a vape shop with the Kratom products. You can see a lot of different colorful products and different concentrations, different varieties, different mixes, some with the synthetic, some without the synthetic. So that's kind of what it looks like, a picture there on the shelves. All right, some news. What's some news that took place? Very recent news, just actually reported about 2 weeks ago. The chess grandmaster, Daniel Nardiski, had drugs in his system.
Do note that this one he's showing, this death with the chess grandmaster, is disputed later by somebody else. So just keep that in mind that it was determined it was not a kratom death. So
Some
keep in mind.
death toxicology reports suggest. It says, he died with kratom in his system and had some other drugs as well, but that was in his system. We see news articles about crack.
What he just said, he had other drugs in the system too.
Yeah, other drugs as well.
Yep, and he said it real quick.
He did.
Disregard that.
It's never any other drug's fault.
Right. But the beauty is later on record. I'm going to play it after this. On record, a minute-long testimony that it was determined it was not a kratom death.
Down on kratom and 7-OH. Another news article from Idaho. Kratom directly linked to overdose deaths in Idaho. Coroner raising concerns. We can see at the bottom here. We're still finding kratom and 7-OH products for sale in gas stations, smoke stops, online, and other retailers. While these products are sometimes marketed as natural remedies, they are dangerous and can result in fatal overdoses, said the state public health officer. All right, we hear some testimonies. Testimonies sometimes it cured my dental pain. It was replacement for painkillers. It calmed my anxiety, gave me energy. It helped me get off opioids, gave me a positive mood. We hear those kind of testimonies. However, I'll just make a comment that you hear those same testimonies oftentimes with taking prescription drugs. You hear them with taking dietary supplements for some. You, of course, hear that in this case for taking it with kratom. You hear sometimes these same comments with drinking coffee. You hear it with using marijuana. And finally, using cocaine, you hear some of these same reports. Some even claim some of these testimonies when they exercise. This is a quick search on Amazon. If you go to Amazon and search word kratom, you can see the results that come up. The vast majority of the top results are drug tests likely for employers who want to make sure that their employees don't have kratom in their system when they're working at their offices. Additionally, you can see a number of the books that come up. First search here, Kicking Kratom, 100 Things You Need to Know About Kratom, and then My Kratom Hell, people are reporting about the addictions, and lastly, Kratom, A Glass Half Empty. That's the first page on Amazon.
But the book by Michelle or Dr. Michelle Ross, that book is right there on Amazon. Kratom is Medicine. They don't show that.
No,
they don't show all the beneficial books that are there. They just went and showed all the bad
right,
stuff. Yeah.
Right. And now they're showing this Google search. It's kind of small on the screen. He typed in Google, how kratom helped me. And of course, Google is going to always show a kratom search taking you to, like,
oh, Google's terrible.
Are you on drugs? Let us give you a help number. Oh my God. It does that.
And it'll say Suboxone and Methadone. That's the latest one that's coming up now. It's like when you do a quick search in Google, it's like, oh, are you having this? You may need Suboxone or Methadone. Contact your, nearest clinic. It's like, oh my Lord.
It does that when you go research, things like oxycodone and Percocet, pharmaceuticals I used to take. It automatically assumes through Google that I was a drug addict and I need help, which, is inappropriate.
You can see without logged in or anything, the default results that come up, first of all, is a 988 suicide and crisis lifeline. And then the first link there is National Helpline for Mental Health, Drug, Alcohol Issues. And the third link there, kratom unsafe and ineffective. All right, so the question comes up, but aren't all plants okay? It's natural. I'm a big proponent of natural products and plants, and I love all kinds of plants and God's uses for them. But here's the question. Let's look at a few of these plants. So sugar cane. Sometimes you hear that's argued as, well, that's a drug because you can overdose on it. You can take too much sugar, and our kids can be bouncing off the walls off that. Certainly gives us high energy. That's true. It can give us a sense of euphoria, but it does actually have an addictive effect. Sugar does have that. Let's take a look at cocaine. So cocaine can give you high energy and give you euphoria as well, but it does intoxicate your mind as well. It can impair driving. You can overdose with cocaine, and there's extreme addictive and withdrawals from cocaine as well. And ultimately, that ends up staying in your system about 200 hours. That's a plant. That one is, of course, illegal federally. Let's look at kratom. So kratom, we see some
cocaine is not a plant. It is a byproduct of a plant.
Right. I can't believe there's the lawmaker in South Dakota doing this presentation right here. If I lived in South Dakota, I would be outraged. This is ridiculous. This is how they're making their point about kratom by doing all this. It's ridiculous.
Mention and higher doses can intoxicate your mind, though. It can impair driving. It has overdoses. It's addictive and has withdrawals, and that stays in your system also for a number of hours, 400 to 200. Lavender, that's a plant. Some of us use lavender. That can give you high energy. That can calm you as well. Coffee, many of us, if we had it this morning, we might have some energy because of that. Hopefully, can make us happy. Those who love coffee and the different flavors, but can have a small addictive effect? Sure, withdrawals. All of us have dealt with that at some point or another. Finally, I grow rare fruit, so I'll mention an interesting one called Manchil fruit. You may have never seen this before, but it creates high energy if you eat it, and it certainly makes you happy if you eat it. But this fruit, if you eat it, will kill you within 30 minutes. So that creates death. So we have to be careful about all.
How about bringing up all the toxins in our food?
Right. Right. I can't believe this is how he wants to make his point. And now mushrooms.
Yeah. Or even in pharma, all the toxins because of that. I mean, he's weird.
God, this is crazy.
There's always told them about mushrooms, haven't they? Don't pick the mushrooms in the yard and eat them. Well, why not? This first one here, if you pick that, that's a satisfying, tasty stir fry that we all have. That one's okay. Second one, let's take a look at that. That'll give you a psychedelic mind trip if you take that mushroom. Finally, the last one here, you take that mushroom, you'll be dead in 30 minutes. So there is a difference between plants and fungi and which ones we use and which ones we don't use. There's some ancient wisdom. Some of you may have heard this before. Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. All right, here's two examples of two products you can find at the potential health food store, Boswellia and Kratom. Boswellia, if we look at the comparisons here, both of them are plants that can create pain relief. They're a plant, they contain alkaloids, and the FDA says no medical benefit of either. However, the differences are Kratom can be addictive instead of non-addictive. It's not approved as a dietary supplement. Boswellia is. It's considered adulterated under FD&C Act. No unreasonable risk with Boswellia. The DEA says a drug and chemical concern, and there's 6 Department of Health deaths reported in South Dakota just with Kratom, as opposed to 0 with Boswellia.
Can somebody tell him the FDA did a single dose study that showed it was safe? I mean, when is that ever going to be put out to all these lawmakers?
It's out there. They just choose not to listen to it.
Yeah, but it really should be on the FDA's Kratom webpage.
Yeah, front and center. As soon as they type in Kratom on there, that should pop up.
It really should.
Research online, you can see Boswellia's labeled as a supplement, but Kratom's labeled as a herbal drug or herb, even though both are reporting some benefits. Finally, we see some highlights here from the FDA. They say dietary supplements that contain kratom are adulterated, and they're at the bottom. Therefore, kratom is not lawfully marketed in the U.S. as a drug product, a dietary supplement, or a food additive in conventional foods. We know in South Dakota law that we actually ban some adulterated foods. So some of the opponents will claim, hey, just ban the synthetic and semi-synthetic alkaloids or the chemically modified ones. You'll hear that. However, you can see per our law already, this should be banned as it is because it's an adulterated product and it's already selling.
So enforce it.
But here's the thing. Natural kratom is not adulterated. That's why there's regulations to help make sure it's safe and tested. And then
if they already have a law on the books in South Dakota to not allow semi-synthetic or synthetics, then simply enforce your law. Leave pure leaf alone.
Exactly.
Right. Well said. And then look, they got to sit here and let's do a map and show where it's currently banned.
There's some states that kratom has already been banned. There's 7 states. Louisiana was just added a few months ago, but you can see the states that are in place and growing. California just added it in the past 60 days. They saw it as such a dangerous.
Wait a minute. How come he's not saying Rhode Island just undid it?
Exactly.
Where's
because his
that?
facts are wrong.
Where's he getting the information? He's not providing the full picture. He's not giving out all
Google.
the facts. Wow.
Google.
Right.
The thing is, when a lawmaker is doing a presentation like this, everybody in that room unless they're a Kratom consumer, is believing all of this. And they're not being educated properly.
Product that they actually didn't even wait for the legislature. The Department of Health just outright banned it in the state. Just a final
Which is what
reminder,
Rhode Island did, and it got overturned.
Right.
Yes. The first time that's ever happened where it got actually overturned.
Health, at least
And they
six
should
South
have to
Dakota
have the
lives were cut short due
legislation
to Kratom in 2020.
support for it.
Right. Exactly.
Because we all know what the Board of Health tends to want to do. Ban anything that is not pharmaceutical, putting money in their
Also have
pockets.
deaths in 2025. This is a growing drug. Let's stop it before we have more lives lost. Stand by for questions, but ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. We got about 30 seconds left for further proponent testimony of House Bill 11.
All right, so I'm going to skip to the part where, let me see. Oh, wait, I'm going to play a little bit more of this.
51. House Bill 1151.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Graham Flynn from the South Dakota Attorney General's office. In the interest of time, we would just rise to say that we concur that Kratom is a dangerous substance that should have much more regulation than what it has right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Jenna Severin, South Dakota Police Chiefs Association, we're a Me Too. Thank you.
Thank you. In the room,
Regulation, not banning.
testimony for House Bill 1151. All right, seeing none here, we'll move.
All right, so now I'm going to show the testimony right after this where they dispute that death that was shown in the presentation because it was inaccurate.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name's Sam Madsen. I'm a registered lobbyist for the South Dakota Small Business Owners for Hemp. Before I get started and kind of explaining what hemp is, I want to address the proponent of this bill. When we previously had hearings on a similar form of this bill, he brought up Mr. Nordaditsky, the chess player that died from Kratom. I actually pulled the death report from his death in that investigation, and he actually had a heart attack. And what happened was Mr. Nordaditsky had methamphetamine in his blood. He had other amphetamines in his blood. And he was found, when his body was found, he had 40 pills of unprescribed Adderall in his possession. So I just wanted to touch on that before.
I'm going to stop right there because that's the part I wanted to share with
That'll
y'all.
do
That's
it.
so important because that was all over national news when that famous chess player died, and he was that young guy, and everything was, it was a Kratom death. It was a Kratom death. And this guy's sharing the facts.
No, they wanted to lie and call it a Kratom death, and he had all kinds of other stuff inside of him.
But
That wasn't
but now it's on record in South Dakota
right,
because
and they don't pull it back,
right because
And
the
they let it
media
stay out
never
there.
backtracks. They you
No.
know, the media put it out there. The guy in his presentation showed the screenshot of that death from the news. But the news is not going to go backtrack and say, "Oh,
No.
we got it wrong. He died
They
from a
wanna
heart
leave it out
attack.
there. Yep.
He died from a heart attack and had 40 Adderalls in his, on him.
Unprescribed.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So I mean, that was to me very telling. All right, let me go back to the testimony, going back to Mac because I want y'all to hear a couple of Macs and a few others that are real brief because everybody had to go real quick on this. So basically, you'll get a replay of hearing the disruption again. Are y'all good with staying just a little bit longer for this? We got a lot of people here watching.
Yeah, I'm
live.
good.
Yeah.
We got a very large captive. A lot of people over on X, over on Christopher.
Thank you, everybody.
Christopher Organic Botanicals is broadcasting on his X and also on his YouTube and our Kratom Real Talk YouTube. Yeah, we got 93 people watching just on X. And a bunch of people here on YouTube. X usually you can't comment, or I don't, it doesn't work as well on here, but we can see all the YouTube comments. All right, let's watch some testimonies.
Real quickly, who you're representing, and only unmute when we call upon you, please. Mac Haddow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm with the American Kratom Association. We strongly oppose this bill. I can tell you that the FDA is actively investigating every single one of the reports that you've heard, and their conclusion is that deaths are rare, polydrug use, adulterated kratom products, and underlying health conditions. Thank you.
You got to kick those guys out. It was Susan and Dan. Just remove them from the meeting. All right, Melody Wolf. Melody, you're on mute. You need to unmute your mic. And truly, it's state your name, who you're representing, and a me too, please.
Melody Wolf, and I'm representing the advocates. I stood on the HHS and FDA joint press briefing stage. They asked me to speak there about the benefits of Kratom as a 12-year consumer. So I am definitely against this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. We're only going to have time for a few more. Sheldon Bradshaw, please.
Sheldon Bradshaw represents Scientific Association for Botanical Education and Research. I'm the former chief counsel of the United States Food and Drug Administration, and I oppose the bill because it would fundamentally misalign South Dakota law with what the FDA is currently trying to do. Thank you.
All right, I was going to just play those first few because we don't have time to play all the others. But they had so many people on both sides wanting to testify. They just had to keep it super short and brief. And then let me just end it with at the very end, they took some questions within the council and then voted. So everybody can see how this one played out. And the thing to remember, this is just a committee hearing on, I'm pretty sure it's the House side. Things have to pass on the full floor of the House and Senate before it goes to the governor. I mean, it's like a big process. The thing is, it's best to get something like these kinds of bans knocked out before it goes too far. So it'd be ideal for it to like stop here, but that's not always the case. So let me play the rest
No
of this.
further questions. We'll move to committee action and or discussion. Committee action and or discussion. Representative Manhart.
I move do pass.
We have a do pass motion from Representative Manhart and a second from Representative Baxter on House Bill 1151. Comments on that motion, Representative Manhart? No comments. Representative Baxter, do you have comment?
Just a quick comment. I think most people remember in 2021, Peloton had one death. They had to redo their whole Peloton system. They lost $4 billion in one day due to one death and had to redo everything. I've been reached out to by many family members that have lost people, and I know that the deaths were kind of suggested that maybe that there was no big deal to that because they were maybe mixing it with other things. But I think one death is too many, and I'll be supporting all the family members that did reach out to me that did have deaths. And I think one death is too many. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments on House Bill 1151? Representative Halverson.
Mr. Chair, this is a question for you, I guess. When we passed your bill last year, didn't this take all this into consideration?
It did. So I guess I'll just turn that into a comment and then we'll move to action here. But again, I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate Senator Carley and Representative Heineman bringing this forward. And of course, we will, respect the will of the committee in final action, whatever that looks like. But yes, last year, this was under consideration about bringing a ban of Kratom, and being involved in an organization that does some chemical dependency counseling, transitioning from people with chemical dependency. Also understanding, the more I get into this with law enforcement, I understand the police chiefs are here, again, supporting the bill. But I also understand in my community, police, they're not actively going to look for this. So we did ban synthetic concentrated Kratom. Our bill last year did three things. It banned that synthetic concentrated Kratom. It put dosage labels on it, the labeling piece, to say this should be the natural dosing of kratom and what it should do. It had a pregnancy warning because kratom does affect children who are in the womb. And so that's an issue as well. It's legitimate issue as well, but so does alcohol, right? And people die from alcohol as well, and over abuse and overuse and what that looks like. So those same types of warnings were placed on kratom with the bill last year in what it did. But ultimately, the reason I didn't pursue this route last year, because when we get into it, is what's been mentioned is the availability from the black market to our law enforcement really going to enforce it? Are people going to just order it online? I mean, because ultimately that's what's going to happen here, and what takes place. And so that's why we didn't do that. So again, creating laws that I don't know are truly enforceable or not is my struggle with this. But I appreciate the conversation and the will of the committee to continue to move forward. So if there's no further comments with that, Representative Heineman.
Thank you for the deference to let me respond to that. But since then, there have been several states, as well as two, I believe it was the Marines and the Navy, that banned kratom. So I think that's changed. The other thing is the Attorney General's office here is supporting this. I think that, to me, that's an important aspect of this. So I appreciate your support of this bill.
All right. Thank you. With that, what we have before us is a due pass motion from Representative Manhart of House Bill 1151 with a second by Representative Baxter. All those in favor will say aye. All those opposed will say nay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative Rayfeld excused. Fosness?
No.
Alverson?
No.
Jordan?
Aye.
Garcia?
Aye.
Emery?
Aye.
Andera?
Pass.
Kaiser?
Aye.
Schaefbauer?
Aye.
Manhart?
Aye.
Baxter?
Aye.
Andera?
No.
Heineman?
Aye.
Mulder?
No.
8 ayes, 4 nays, 1 excused.
Having received a majority vote, House Bill 1151 will move to the floor with a due pass recommendation.
And that means it's going to the House floor in South Dakota. And then from there, it will go to the Senate.
Yeah.
And sadly, there's a lot of these happening right now.
Yeah, we have to make sure they're educated. And even if they aren't in your state, we need everybody in every state, if they're accepting remote testimonies, emails, all of that. It all helps. And families. We need all the families writing in letters and doing that if they can. I mean, I know that the families are already doing so much already, keeping the behind the scenes things going, which we appreciate so much. But I think seeing the families come up there and testify would make a big difference, because they wouldn't be supporting us if it was hurting us, you know?
Right. And it's important to do something. Don't always have this attitude of others will speak up.
Somebody else will do it.
It's like everybody that's a consumer needs to do something. And when you hear about these ban bills, first of all, you can email all those people that are the decision makers. If you're involved with the BAE, are y'all sending out emails, Robin? Like, what are y'all doing to stay in touch with people?
The biggest thing we're doing is trying to keep our website updated.
Okay.
We don't have a whole lot of people signing up yet.
Okay.
We hope that changes. And sharing and putting forth other people's posts on social media. But like I said, the big thing, because I don't think we even understood just how much time and energy is going into keeping all of these updated daily.
Well, everybody can stay updated on the website Robin and her group have put together over at Botanical Advocacy and Education. Go to botanicalae.org to get to the site. And 2 things you want to do is go to the volunteer section here on the menu. And there's am I on the right place here?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a volunteer section. So you can at least sign up and send your information in so they can reach out to you. But also go into the call to action at the top here the very first link. And this is where you can see state by state what's going on. This is what they're doing a great job, is keeping this up to date with what's happening around the country. It's imperative for Kratom consumers in the state where they live to get involved, because you as the constituent, you as the resident, can make the biggest difference. But like with a lot of these, even though I don't live in these states, I live in Texas, I can still send an email. I can still call. I can I can get on the Zooms. I know for a lot of us, we don't have time. A lot of us work. But I, at minimum, email every single one of these. But also, here's a tip too. A lot of times people say, well, it's just easy to just copy and paste all of these emails into one email. Don't do that, because
individual.
Do it one at a time, because when you do the whole, let's do one email to everybody, BCC or even CC, it can get marked as spam.
Yes.
And you don't want this to end up in a spam folder.
And if you're not in that state, always try and represent a familial or financial interest in that state. I vacation there. I have family there. I have a business there, whatever the case may be, so that they see you're actually financially profitable to that state for your purpose.
That's what I did for Georgia, because I have family in Georgia.
Right. And the other thing is, if anybody out there sees an action taking place in their community, let us know, because we can't catch all of them. There is no, for state level, there is tracking software, but on a city and county municipality level, there are not the same generic portals to search for every state. So a lot of them go down to, we have to go click on the city council for a city, dig through their agendas and see what we can find.
I can't get over how long this list is. It's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
We're about 2 days behind, so it's going to get longer.
It's crazy. I just don't understand. How did we get here? How did this happen? It's just, it's way too much. But this
I'm
is
going to
why,
I'm going to call it out. Apathy.
yeah.
The advocates that are active and busy, thank you, thank you, thank you. But for those of you sitting back saying, well, I want to, but, or maybe I should, but I don't, get off your butts. If you don't know how to do something, ask. There's hundreds of us out here that will answer every question. And there are no stupid questions.
Exactly.
Do something. Because otherwise, you're going to be one of the ones sitting back crying, going, now what do I do?
Right. And it'll be too late.
Yeah.
And that happened quite a bit in Louisiana. I mean, there was very little noise coming out of Louisiana. It's like, wait a minute, I thought they have hundreds of thousands of Kratom consumers there.
Right. And the other thing is, a good share of us know vendors and use vendors that are active in these fights. Make sure your vendor is.
Yeah,
let them know your dollar depends on them fighting the fight with you.
Yeah,
because if they won't, find somebody that will.
Right. And there's a lot of responsible vendors that are getting their own advocacy groups together and helping people out. So definitely check into that too.
Yeah. I mean, it can be challenging when you're split so many different ways. But at the same time, if somebody's doing something, keep doing it.
Yeah.
And work together with others. You know, we are much stronger together. I want to see and hear unified voices again. I miss that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I miss the nonsense. I don't like the nonsense of, well, I can't talk to you because you're with them.
I know. Yeah.
Well, guess
Pick
what?
sides. You have to
Them
pick
might be the ones that win the fight. So get over yourselves and get busy.
I mean, I know, like, from an advocate standpoint, it's really hard because you don't see anybody out there. But I will say the folks that are in the 7-0 community, the folks that are like, you know, they're advocating for the whole damn plant, you know, Seven Hope Alliance, Heart,
Yep.
everybody's, you know, they're all advocating for the whole plant. So take a little, you know, if people want to follow by lead for friggin', my goodness, like follow that right now. Like right now they are doing for the whole plant. No judgment. We don't care if you take it, you know, I don't care what you take, what you don't take. That's not my business. But if we all take something that's helping us and it's saving people's lives, shouldn't we all be fighting together? Like, I just think that's like the world is already so divided enough as it is. Why continue to allow that's exactly what they want is a divide right now. It's exactly what they're wanting is a divide.
Yeah, because the more we divide ourselves, the more the opposition wins. And that's why I said it can be challenging seeing so many groups out there advocating or trying to build advocacy groups. But at this point, if it means you're going to get people involved, we can worry about the boundaries later. We have to advocate for our plant. The plant deserves nothing less. It's done so much for so many of us. It's our turn.
I mean, if we don't advocate for it and we don't all like rally together instead of against each other, we're going to lose the damn plant. Like, let's just get it together.
We are.
Like, stop playing.
Because they're going to come after the plant and then it's all gone. They're just.
I don't want to be.
I
told you so.
Done with it. And take it all. Just wipe the whole thing.
Well, it's like one of the things that we just uncovered. Bloomington, Illinois, relatively good sized city. Guess what they start on Monday morning? Their enforcement phase. They banned it.
Yeah.
Came across an article. ABC in California, starting Monday morning, is going to start going around to shops pulling product. ABC is alcohol beverage control.
Yep.
Okay, so if they've got the resources to go do that, why couldn't they just take the 7-0 out of the gas stations that everybody kept saying that the laws kept saying they didn't have the money for?
Thank you. And
people,
that's
I mean,
where
if you've got the product, whether you're a tourist state or whatever, I know if I'm going to Texas, to California, to Florida, I need to be in a legal area. If it's not legal, I'm not going. I've got family and friends like all over. I'm not going if it's not legal, and that sucks. Like,
my daughter lives in Alabama. I can't go see her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks, but the reality is,
yeah, because when I went to Georgia,
I can't make that trip.
Right. When I went to Georgia a couple years ago for my mama was still alive, but my son had taken me down there. But we actually drove through Alabama to Florida for just like a day trip there at the pier. We were there maybe 4 hours or something. I couldn't take any during that trip through that. I mean, I was terrified of seeing Alabama at all because of what happened to our friend. But, you know, so I couldn't take it. And if it would have been beyond just a couple hour trip, I wouldn't have been able to go at all to even visit the pier because I wouldn't have had the relief. I just had to be so, and that was before 7-0. So I'm only talking just, you know, the tea.
Yeah.
I had to be in a window, take it right then and pray that it carried over the 4.5 hours because we were only at the pier maybe an hour and a half, but then it was the travel time.
Yeah, I get that way going to Rhode Island because where I'm in New Hampshire and I go to a lot of music events and stuff, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in Rhode Island. I cannot wait for April because that's when like it's like, okay, everybody, you know, they're, hey, can, you know, they reverse the ban here. Can we order, you know, can we get this? No, not until April. Like, but gosh, I can't wait till April because I go with it there. Like I've got to, you know, like I'm not going to stop living my life. I did that enough. Stuck to the pharmaceuticals, stuck to the damn bed because I was on so many damn meds that I did not feel safe to drive because of other people on the road. Like I know, you know, hey, like this medication is in me, but you know what? Legally, it's probably not a good idea to drive, but I was good to function. But yeah, not being able to go into a legal space definitely makes you like, you see a cop, you like, you know, like I'm not a freaking criminal, but why do I like all of a sudden, you know, I'm like see a cop in Rhode Island, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, like it's scary.
And even though I try to keep up on, like the GKC had one, and there's a couple other resources of the banned jurisdictions or the counties and so on, I'm terrified to go through something and it have already occurred and me not know, even though I try to stay up on it. There's just so much happening all the time, especially in the little towns, and then the counties, and then the smaller, not just the whole state. You know, we have to worry
Oh God,
about
like Massachusetts.
each
I don't
one.
know where to go. I don't know where to
Fox-
go in
That's what I
Massachusetts now.
mean. That's
Now
what I
that you brought
mean.
up
Yeah.
Massachusetts, Foxborough has a meeting this week. They're looking to enter their final ban stage. And the challenging part of that is Lowell and Boston are both watching Foxborough very closely. And other states are watching Foxborough because Foxborough is using their health department the same as what
I really
California
hope
did.
Foxborough gets it together, because Boston is, it's bad. It reminds me of honestly being back home in California, down on, in LA, in the streets of LA. That's what Boston is starting to remind me of now.
Yeah.
It's homeless, it's drugs, and everybody's got like, and it's like, I don't say this to joke around because it's not funny, but it's like, how the Michael Jackson, the Thriller movie, they're all walking around. That's how these
Like
people
zombies.
look now.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going like, wait, like 20 years ago, people on drugs didn't look like this. So this is all like chemically manipulated stuff that's really, messing with them. So it's like, I really hope that Foxborough gets it together, because I'll see what I could do about going to that one. I'll message a couple of my East Coast advocates and see who I can drag with me. It typically will probably be the same 3 to 4 that are always there, but yeah, I'll get us there.
Foxborough is definitely a very key one. Another one that people really need to pay attention to right now is Iowa.
Yeah.
That one is getting very, very ugly, very, very fast. Kansas, of course, it's like, it's almost easier right now to say what states are not involved or what cities are not involved.
Yeah.
Because we have 37 states and well over 100 communities.
Gosh.
And those are just the ones we've dug up so far. Like I said, it takes, Venus can attest to this, it takes some serious digging to get into some of these cities and counties to find their agendas.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
really
hard to
does.
Nobody does
understand
it
all
the
that
same.
stuff.
And nobody wants to make it easy for us.
Yeah.
But and that's part of the reason we started doing this, is the states are vitally important. We know that. And in those instances, especially, thank God for GKC, for AKA, because they have the wherewithal to go in and advocate and lobby strongly. But it's not going to do any good to save a state if we lose every city in it.
Right.
Right.
Yep. Good point.
So that's why we started putting them all up on our website as we uncover them. People have to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And if we don't have your community listed and you know something's happening, let us know. We'll gladly put it up there.
Yeah, y'all are doing a great service to the community, and
Mm,
everybody here on this panel. Y'all are all doing amazing advocacy work, and to be clear, going back to the whole, some of us use 708, some of us don't. Amanda and Twinkle, who use both, are advocating for everything. They're not just going around saying, "I'm only advocating for 7.0."
Right.
They're advocating for everything. And I actually appreciate how the 7.0 community, the way they are advocating for all Kratom. But I don't use 7.0H. And I know Mel earlier commented about how she can't advocate for 7.0 because she's never used it. I don't use 7.0. I'm not advocating for 7.0. I'm not demonizing it. And if my chronic pain friends are benefiting from it, I'm happy for them. I don't want to take that away from them. I don't believe in any prohibition. It doesn't mean I'm an advocate for 7.0. I'm an advocate for what works for me, but also what's working for other people. I'm not going to sit here
There it
and
is
say,
right
you
there.
can't come
That's
on,
right.
you can't come on this live stream, You know, I believe in First Amendment. I believe, in free speech.
Mhm.
And I want people to be able to come on here and share, their views. And I know some people don't like that I've let Wednesday come on multiple times. I've let, I've had Amanda come on here just because they consume. That's like saying, well, I can't let you come on here because you consume Oxycontin, and that's so bad. And
Right.
it's a drug that needs to be banned, and nobody should have access because of all the abuse.
Even though it saves somebody else's life, and it might not have saved
Me?
exactly.
That was one of the
It's
best ones that worked on me. And all you hear is the demonization of Purdue. All those drug companies were doing the same thing. But just like in the kratom industry, let's just target the easy target. And I guess they had,
Instead of making people accountable for themselves.
yeah.
There's an old expression that we used to use a lot, and it needs to come back: a nanny state. We need to get away from this nanny state mentality. Start making people accountable.
accountability,
If you're
responsibility,
given a
absolutely.
pain medication and you overtake it, then suck it up, Buttercup. You don't get more until the next time.
That's
If you're
right.
taking a
That's what I
substance that
mean.
helps you
Yeah.
and it's not hurting anyone else, then leave us alone. Prohibition does not work. Regulation potentially can, but start making people responsible. We lost that along the way. And I'm tired of having somebody tell me what I can and cannot do. I'm 65 damn years old. Leave me alone.
That's how I feel.
Yeah,
I'm not
for
there
sure.
yet, but I'm heading on 60. I mean, I'm 57. I'm just like, I will be responsible and accountable for anything that I take. And if I get out of line with anything that I take, that is on me. It can only be on me. I can't pass the buck or say that something caused that to me, because I'm the one that took it,
Right.
or drank it, or back when I drank alcohol, and I didn't even consume a large amount, $40 worth of alcohol a month, but it was still not good for me. So I don't drink alcohol anymore. But that was nothing in comparison. In a way, I was nibbling alcohol, I suppose. I mean, but, I've always tried to, nobody else, I can't blame anybody else.
Right. Yeah.
Just can't.
Educate, responsibility are the answers. And getting involved. Lose the apathy, lose the laziness, I understand anxiety and fear. I really, really do.
Oh,
I mean,
me
I'm
too. Yeah.
living that anxiety every time I come on here because of the cameras. But I have to be able to look myself in the mirror every day and know that I have done everything I can to
For
continue to make sure I benefit from the things that help me.
Yes, ma'am.
Because if I don't, I've got nobody else to blame but me. Now, can I
Because
win the
nobody's
fight
coming to
alone?
save
No,
us.
but I can
Right.
continue to keep irritating people until they get involved.
Yep. We've been here for almost 3 hours.
3 hours, yeah.
Wow.
We used to do long ones regularly,
Mhm.
and then I got to the point where I didn't mind today because I really wanted to play all these hearings, but it's such a lively discussion. This has been really good today. But I think we got to wrap up. My ears are hurting from wearing the headphones this
Yeah, I
morning.
know. My headset's in
Also,
my
I'm
ear.
due for
like,
my kratom. I'm due for my 6-hour
Me
kratom dose.
too. Me
So
too.
I want to stay pain. Look, for me to be able to sit in this chair for practically 3 hours straight is because of kratom. And
Yeah.
it hasn't, even though I'm coming up to the 6-hour mark at the top of the hour, which is a few minutes from now, I'm still fine. Like, I could probably push it a little bit today because I'm feeling pretty good. But also, we're having a great discussion here.
Yeah.
I enjoy hanging out. That puts me in a good state of mind for this. If I was just hanging around bored, y'all know how it is in chronic pain. It's like I'd probably be feeling it a lot more right about now. I'd be like, oh man, my pain's coming back. But sometimes just being with other like-minded people just puts us in such a great mindset. And I love that we get together each week and do this. It's so important,
Yep,
Yeah,
I
my
agree.
dog is really starting to say, okay, enough is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's always a great chat with you all, and I just love the discussion in the live chat here. This has
I do
been
too.
great. Thank you all so
And
much for hanging out today.
can't say thank you enough for you guys all doing what you do.
We're all just
Thank
all of us
you.
here are so passionate about this
Mhm.
planet.
Yeah.
And those that are here watching. I mean, most people that have been here on, I don't know about X because I can't see who all's here, but on YouTube, the people in our live chat, so many of y'all come here from the start. A lot of y'all are waiting for me to hit the start button. I'm usually still getting ready and getting things together. So we were a few minutes late today. And y'all stay for the whole thing. I still see comments from people that have been here. We've been here for 2 hours and 50 minutes.
And there's 114 watching from X.
We got a lot of people.
Wow.
That's amazing. That
Thank
is
you.
so spectacular.
Thank you to Christopher from Christopher's Organic Botanicals for putting that out to
Definitely.
his X.
Always.
Yeah, X does really well with live streams. They make it real visible to see in the feed. YouTube is great and all because it's the #2 search engine in the world, but you're also competing with a gazillion other live streams and recorded videos. But for anybody that's watching us for the first time, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. We do that. We've been doing this every Saturday for over 2 years, well over 2 years. So, yeah. And the podcast
That's
will be
something to be
coming
proud
back.
of.
And the Kratom Stories podcast, yeah, I've taken a little break. And the reason why I had to take a break is because I had built up a great YouTube channel and then lost it in December because of censorship. And it was frustrating because when you have to start over at zero, we had so much momentum going. And I've still been doing interviews for the podcast. They just haven't been released because my next interview that was going to come out is a pretty big deal person. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm starting at zero with YouTube. Like I was embarrassed to be putting up an episode of a great interview with an actor who's the first person to come up with a Kratom beer, a real Kratom beer. And it's a fascinating story. And I was like, I mean, our podcast is all over. It's not just on YouTube, but I'd really focused on YouTube a lot. And I was just like, I'm kind of embarrassed. I think I need to kind of build up the channel a bit. So I'm working on it. I'm gonna get the new episode out and get back because I got lots of episodes that are going to be coming out. It's such, and Robin, I would love to get you on the podcast so you could come share your story with us sometime.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
We'll talk. Everybody else here has been on it. Yeah, lots of great stories. It's just so interesting to hear how other people find Kratom, how they consume it, what are their thoughts on everything about it. It makes for a fun conversation.
Yeah, and all the different things that it helps, you know, everybody's so different, but it seems to help us all the same way.
Yeah.
Does anybody else, does any of you guys follow or get emails from the Fast Democracy notifications? Because it'll give you, like emails of like, you know, ban hearings and things that are coming up in your area. Yeah. Because like, I mean, you go in there and you can like put in like your area. Because like, that's where I got the one from New Hampshire at 12:38 in the morning, but at least it sent it because I didn't get it from anybody else, but that it was, I was like, oh, okay.
How do you sign up for that? I know when I filled out some of those.
It's notifications at fastdemocracy.com.
So wait, notification. Hold on, let me type this in.
Fastdemocracy.com.
So notifications.
Found them.
What is it again? Notifications what?
Notifications at fastdemocracy.com. That's the email that it comes from.
Is there like a website for them?
There could be. Could be. I just know I don't know. I've literally read so much stuff, but I had one of the emails and I was like, oh wait, that's right.
It's fastdemocracy.com, which I should have known because you said the actual .com in
sorry.
Well, no, I just was realizing when I heard you say that, I'm like, oh, let me just type that in. Well, I know on some of those forms we fill out, like when the AKA puts their things, and it's like just a form you fill out through their website, it'll have a box to check off for fast action or fast democracy.
I've never really gotten that, nor have I been getting any emails in the last month and a half from the AKA, and it doesn't matter how many times I sign up for them.
Really? Okay, interesting.
Weird.
But I've had to sign up for GKC multiple times, and sometimes I get them, sometimes I don't.
Yeah, I've had to do that with Seven Alliance site. I've had to do that a couple of times. I mean, everything, technology, it always has glitches. So it's just, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to stay up on top of it because they're coming so fast. I can't keep up with them.
Oh,
Part of that comes from if you get too many rejected from your mail server that go back to the company that's sending them, a lot of times they'll pull you off the list. So you have to resubscribe.
Okay. Because I think there's certain ones that I like added into my email so they wouldn't bounce.
Yeah, you have to whitelist it in your
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They should be coming.
MailChimp and Constant Contact, Brevo, all of those they try to push them anyway, but sometimes they aren't successful.
Right. And Mel, I saw your comment. I have your email address. I've done so many interviews, and since it's on pause, I'm trying to wait till I get kind of caught up on getting them out. I have like 6, I think, interviews. Like I have a bunch. Plus, it's so much work putting this together, y'all. Oh my God. I think I might change up the format where I live stream the interview. I know some people are probably not going to like this, but I've got to make this easier for me. I just don't have the time to do it the way I normally do this. This is easy. This live stream is easy because there's no editing. I hit the button. We're live. I mean, I prep to, get all these videos we're going to watch. But for the podcast itself, Kratom Stories podcast, it's a lot of work. The interview part is not, but all the before and after, especially the after, because it's a lot of editing. Let me see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 7 interviews. So it's very time consuming to put them all together. I think what I might do, I just don't know if anybody's going to want to do this, but I think I'd like it to be a live stream format, and it'll still be a date that works for me and the guest. So it's not going to be consistent, but if you subscribe to the YouTube, I don't know. I got to think about this.
I kind of like that idea.
Because it'll be live streamed, which is no different than this. It's just you and me having a conversation, but if people want to watch live, they can, they don't have to. But then I have that recording, and then I don't have to worry about editing. And like I have a recording, I have what I need, and then I can put the audio version in the audio podcast players and put a video version on Spotify and like the regular podcast, but it would just cut out all the editing because it's a lot. If y'all saw, I know Venus has seen how I organize this over on Trello, and like if y'all saw the number of steps per episode, I have like a whole checklist for myself for each guest episode, and it's like it's probably like 30 different things I do, so it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. And I always think about people that just vlog their whole lives. And I think you're not only doing that, but you have to go back and edit, watch it all over again. It's like you're doing everything twice.
I have to go watch it all over again so I can pick, because then I got to pick out an intro and then go edit parts out. And, because sometimes, there's some little hiccup or the guest is like, oh, wait, don't put that in there. If it's live, it's going to be a different environment. I think people are going to be more aware of what they're saying. And whatever, it's like this, whatever you say is out there. This doesn't get edited. It's live, and then, it's there. I don't know. I'm still got to kind of figure out how I want to do this. I'm just trying to make it a lot easier for myself because this is so much work and I don't have time to do. And I'm trying to do more of my real work stuff that I do. And it's just trying
to
figure out how to make
yourself too.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how to make it all work. Because I spend so much time advocating. I don't even know how I do it. Because of Kratom, I can, but it's wearing me out. All right, y'all. Well, I think we'll wrap up since we're all just pumped up from all this advocacy talk. We'll end today with the "You Can't Ban My Roots" song. And we just need to. And shout out to Becca, who was unable to make it today. I hope she's feeling better. And it's not the same when she's not here with us on Kratom Gals.
She does her dance at the end.
I know. That's what I was thinking, because she's always, I usually let us all stay on screen for a moment because she's always just rocking out to whatever song, and it's fun to watch. So, but yeah.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Robin.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for
you all.
I love coming on and helping.
Yeah, we love having you here.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
It makes for a very well-rounded discussion.
And I love that, I haven't experienced anything negative since, I know that I've been on here. it's been nice. Anybody that I've seen come on has been pretty open to discussion, whether they take it or not,
Yeah.
But that's, that's part of, doing the
great
little research
community.
yourself, when they sit there and go,
Right.
oh, there's not science. Well, there's billions of us that take it. Well, how much more science do you need? So I appreciate when people are just kind and, very understanding and not just, quick to pop off because of something that they've heard.
Yeah.
Well, the
Yeah.
saying, birds of a feather flock together.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So anyway, all right, y'all.
I like our flock.
I do too. I love our community. I love our group. And so, all right, y'all. We'll see y'all soon. Y'all have a great rest. Oh, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy
Oh
Valentine's
yeah, happy
Day.
Happy Valentine's Day,
Enjoy,
everyone.
enjoy
Thank
the
you.
rest of your day, and we'll see y'all soon. Get ready to rock.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
You can't ban my truth. Nah, 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 nah. Hey, Florida, we see the game. HB 1489. Not today. Natural leaf, ancient tree. Now they wanna make it a felony. Nah, we ain't playing that corporate tune. Kratom's the voice of 1,000 moons. From the fields to the streets to the healing hands, you can't kill what the earth commands. They assess certification, regulation, tricks. Just another play to make the people sick. They write the rules, we break the chains. Your lobby games won't own our brains. One voice, one fight, we rise tonight. You can't ban my roots. I'm a child of the storm. I was born to be free. I ain't bending no more. You can't break my truth. You can write your lies, but the people rise. No one for 89. Mail orders ban, remote sales cut. Who's that help? Big pharma's gut. They don't want plants, they want pills. They don't want cures, they want bills. But guess what? We ain't that dumb. We'll shout this message till the war is won. Kratom's our anthem, Kratom's our right. HB 1489, we fight tonight. They write the rules, we break the chains. Your lobby games won't own our brains. One voice, one fight, we rise tonight. You can't ban my roots. I'm a child of the storm. I was born to be free. I ain't bending no more. You can't break my truth. You can write your lies, but the people rise. No one's on 89. You can't outlaw the trees. You can't outlaw the breeze. You can't outlaw the dreams. We are Kratom. We are free. You can't ban my roots. I'm a child of the storm. I was born to be free. I ain't bending no more. You can't break my truth. You can write your lies, but the